Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terribles over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
How do I want to answer the second one?
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch is what he's trying to do.
Port Royal Speedway. Got Devin Gordon with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep.
Monday, April 22nd, 2024. What's going on? We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Great to see everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to bring on our buddy Tyler Koenig on pretty soon. We're going to talk about everything that happened this past weekend, and he's also going to be our
Guru
resource here for Lucas Oil that's coming to Port Royal on Sunday, as well as everything else. This guy he has more in his brain about racing than all of us combined. So be awesome to have him on, chat up with him a little bit. We're going to recap Selinsgrove yesterday, the Sterner on Saturday, Port Royal, all that. A little bit of controversy in the world of Outlaws between David Gravel and Buddy Kofoid. We're going to talk about all that and more. So see a lot of you guys in the chat. What's going on, Brad? Marie, Randy, Matt, got to see you at Selinsgrove yesterday. JZ, you finally met him at Lincoln on Saturday?
Did yeah, he walked up to me and I'm like, I know, should I know this guy? I don't know if I know this guy. Big old, he's real tall, and I'm like, damn, I'm tall and this guy's big, So, got to meet you, Matt. It was nice to meet you for sure, man.
Matt. Good morning, Terribles from the Gold Coast, Australia. It's 10 a.m. and 22 Celsius, which is
Nobody knows.
I think it's actually pretty warm.
Made that up.
George Wood was first. Hey, Mr. Wood. You were first. I'll give you that. Aunt Bay, what's up? Got to see Aunt Bay a little bit. Brandon. Chris Frank wants to talk about Tyler Walker. We'll probably talk about that later, I'm sure. Everybody, thanks, everybody. Make sure you put your questions and comments in the chat as we go along throughout the night. Let's jump into it. First, let's bring on our guests for today. If you don't know him, he's got his own racing roundup. He does a racing roundup usually before us here on Monday nights, and then he also does a preview show usually on Thursdays. Check him out on Facebook. This guy he's the guy when it comes to, he's always in our chat correcting us when we're wrong, which is a lot. Let's bring him on in, Tyler Koenig. Tyler, thanks so much for joining us tonight. How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, buddy. Welcome in, man. Appreciate you coming in. We've talked about doing this for a long time, and we thought, you know what? This literally today was like, Jimmy, hey, here's a thought. And this happened today. So, and I just saw you Saturday and you know, kind of whatever. So it all just sort of came about. I didn't even talk to Jimmy about it yesterday, right? He's at Selinsgrove. I took the day off and was doing whatever here at home. And today I was like, hey, Jimmy, what do you think? He's like, sure, let's do it. Here we are. So appreciate you coming in, man. You're a wealth of knowledge. So when we start running our gums about something and you just jump in, correct us and tell us where we're wrong. And then you're going to inform everybody about what's going on this weekend because you told me I knew Lucas Oil was this weekend and you're like, and then this, and then this, and then this. And then I'm like, what, where, how's this all happening at the same time? So we'll get you going here. Jimmy, where are we going to start? Where are we starting with Selinsgrove?
Yeah, we're going to start with Selinsgrove. Before we start, we do want to thank, we are presented today by Gusthall's Automotive. We do want to shout out them. Check them out for all of your automotive needs. They're located in Middletown, 632 South Catherine Street in Middletown. Any of your automotive needs, if you need oil change, you know, tires, all that, anything you need, they're the people to go to. Definitely check them out, and we want to thank them for supporting the show. So yeah, let's start with Selinsgrove yesterday, and we're gonna try something a little different here. We're kind of up, getting there a little bit. Selinsgrove Speedway yesterday. It was a fast ass track. 22 410s. Wasn't the biggest field, but it was chilly. There was a couple cars, and we'll get into that I thought were gonna show up and actually had it on their schedules to show up, but didn't. But how about Austin Bishop with his first career 410 victory? Jay-Z on the car. How'd you feel about this in this one?
Bill Riekert already was in the chat here. He's on YouTube. Say hi. Bill, congratulations, man. I know you guys put in a lot of time, a lot of work into that race car. I've seen the ups and downs, you know, kind of with you guys. I mean, you're definitely obviously, you know, the team. So you know, feel it, but I'm always keeping an eye on Austin and what they're doing. You guys are always a friendly face when I stop by the trailer every weekend. Couldn't be happier, man. Could not be happier for that team. And he earned it. He had to go get it all night long. And from what Jimmy and Tyler were there, they can kind of recount the pass for the lead, but he wanted to win that race. It sounded like pretty badly. So, man, congratulations to that whole team. Big fans of theirs, and hopefully that's just more to come this season.
Yeah, TJ Stutz broke the track record by over a tenth, or just about a tenth, in qualifying. The track was fast. Also, Cam Smith, who qualified second, also broke the previous record. They were going bad fast, though. I know we were just talking before the show. Tyler said they put some new clay down in the corners, and just kind of with it being cool temperatures, it held a lot of moisture. Man, they were flying. There was during one of the heat races, there was a gentleman to my right. I didn't introduce myself or anything. I'm not creeping on you, but I saw it. You had the radar gun out there, and he was clocking Freddie Raymer and Justin Whittle, who Whittle was chasing Freddie down during his heat race, and they clocked them going anywhere between 136 and 138 going into turn one. They were flying. So it was really cool. A lot of mechanical troubles. Danny Dietrich blew a motor in his heat race while leading. Devin Borden was on his way to come get him. He also blew a motor in time trials. Great, Don.
He's getting us both, buddy. Don't worry.
So some part failures. Some guys didn't take the green because they had some part failures. It was hard on equipment. You know, it was fast, but it was fun to watch as a fan. I love watching that place. I like more or less when it's slicked off and they could run, slide each other and run side by side. But it was still, when at least once a year, I want to see that place when it's locked down like that, because there's nothing else like watching speed. If you want to see speed in a sprint car, you go to Selinsgrove. It's so cool. Tyler, what'd you think? You were there.
Fast. I mean, standing in the infield by the scales, going into turn 3 during time trials, just absolutely hammer down, throttle down, wide open. I knew the track was going to be fast, with it being cooler, being a little overcast. not as many cars to help widen the groove out, but I felt like it raced pretty good once it got a little bit wider. The move of the race was definitely when Bishop went outside of Stutz getting off of 2. There wasn't a whole lot of room out there, but he made it work. But let me tell you something. I was holding my breath when he went to make that pass, because one little mess up, they were going to both be on 35.
and listen, he was flying once he got around Stutz.
Yeah. He left.
He left. I mean, there was only, I'm like, oh, they're not going to get in the lap traffic. It was about almost halfway through the race, and there's 11 or 12 cars left on the track at that point. Because Devin Borden was really fast. Devin and Bishop were battling at one point when TJ was in the lead. And he kind of just let Borden go, and then Borden ended up breaking a rear end, I think, later on. Yeah.
Blew the U-joint up.
And so I thought it was going to be Devin's race kind of to lose. TJ looked good too out there in clean air, but I'm like, they're not going to get in the lap traffic. Austin proved me wrong, man. There was 10 cars out there, and he was lapping them. So at the end, he was flying. And he was making quick work of them. Like, he wasn't playing around. He wasn't trying to lay off. He was going. So it was really cool to see him get that first victory. Yeah, it was just bad fast. Go ahead, Tyler.
Good run for Franick, finishing 4th.
Yeah, Davey Franick looked good. Whittle looked really good too. He had to pass a couple cars. Callum Williamson was kind of a surprise. It was kind of like a last minute deal for them to come show up. Just his first weekend in the Trone 39, and he looked good. And I think I saw something on his social media post throughout the night. He was loving the track, so which is cool to hear. Ryan Newton was also there. I'm trying to think of who else was there. Jake Carklin. There's a couple others.
Newton lost the motor. Carklin lost the motor. Hayden Miller lost the motor.
Yep.
Ryan Newton had a piece of debris hit the oil sump, so he didn't blow up, but close enough.
Yeah.
Norris had motor trouble. Devin lost the motor at the end of time trials, and then lost the drive line in the feature. Danny had a piston problem in the heat race. It just, when it's that fast and it's that locked down there, as Selinsgrove's already hard on motors as it is.
Yeah.
That just comes with the territory of racing there.
We have a couple people that have asked, let's go back here to Tyler Shell, opinions on the rules package at Selinsgrove. And also, so I guess you could run dished wings and 2-inch wickers there. They were pretty open with it.
The rules package, I was at the driver's meeting. The rules package is you can either run a dished wing with no wicker bill, or you can run a standard wing with up to a 2-inch wicker bill. They're not mandating only the 1-inch. You can run up to a 2-inch with a regular wing, or you can run a dished wing with no wicker bill on it.
Okay. So it makes sense, because somebody had said that, and I'm like, I can't tell from turn 1, but I did notice some cars without a wicker bill. I'm like, am I going crazy? And that must be why, because
TJ and Devin both had dished wings.
And they were 2 of the fastest cars most of the night too. So maybe that's something to look into. Going back to that.
Well, I mean, yes and no, right? I expect them both to be fast there, number one.
Right.
TJ still got past with it, with having it or not having it, whatever he did for the feature. So I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess we'll find out. They don't run there a ton all year, right? We don't have a ton of races there. So teams have a little bit of freedom to pick and choose what they want. Yep. Unless there's a gigantic advantage of one over the other, it is what it is. It's everybody's equal. You have the choice. Make your choice.
And the other issue is going to be when we get to Speed Week and we get to the World of Outlaw shows, because those are not going to be like the Speed Week rule is you run the central PA rules, which is the 1-inch wicker bill with the regular wing, and the Outlaw's the same rule package because we adopted the Outlaw rule when it comes to that. So you can't even do that option for those 3 races.
Right.
And I think they have, Jimmy, you would probably know better than me, but I think they have another maybe 3 races other than that are not that are not sanctioned.
Yeah, they got you have the Tilly.
You have the May.
And they have like 2 others, and then they'll have
July, a May race.
Tilly's next month. I'm pretty sure on a Sunday next month. I think they have 6 or 7 410 races. I think it's 7 if you count the 2 Outlaw nights.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'll probably leave you 3 total that you can do this. I just don't see it being. It's much to do about nothing, in my opinion, unless something for a couple races, right? I think people will find out pretty quickly if they want to do it or not. If you have them, you'll run them if you want to, and if you don't have them at all and you got rid of them, then you don't run them.
Right.
It is what it is.
I did something, and Selinsgrove last year, it was a big rule with them was the tire rule. They left it pretty open. You could run, I want to say whatever tire you wanted, but you could run the old tire if you wanted to. Now they had to this year go to and make, hey, you got to run the current Hoosier tire now, going into this season. And they seemed kind of reluctant to do it, but they had to. And I think it's a good idea to kind of leave it open for them so they don't get a lot of shows. And it helps maybe bring in some people that want to try some stuff out. You know what I mean? And because they need something to help bring in cars. Like they only got 22 yesterday. Not terrible, about what we expect with them. They usually get somewhere between 22 and 26 on a normal Sunday. I think if the weather's a little bit better, because like Macri had it on his schedule and he didn't show up. I was a little disappointed in that, but when he won 20 grand the night before, which we'll talk about later, okay, sure. I don't blame you. Dylan Sisney's another one who also won on Saturday night. He's usually a guy that runs Selinsgrove, so maybe it's just because they didn't want to risk.
Sisney had a motor problem they found in maintenance Sunday morning, so he had to. They said routine maintenance had something with the engine. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So it was a fun race for me as a fan. I understand it's tough on the equipment, and it'll be. There'll be more conversations ahead of what happens with Selinsgrove, obviously. But I think it's good that they try to do something different, kind of keep some of the rules open, let guys try some stuff out. And it's been a good spot for guys to just go and get some laps somewhere. So, outside of your heavy hitters that are trying to go there and win some money. Anything else from Selinsgrove that you could water main break after the feature? I was leaving anyway because it was starting to get cold. It was about 8:00, and they ended up having a water main break. So the limited late model and the Roadrunner features will be made up, I think, this upcoming Saturday.
I think so.
So they'll be remade up. Just Selinsgrove can't catch a break. That's the second one in a year now that they've had there. So tough. But so let's go from that. Let's recap Port Royal real quick. What we just talked about. Dylan Sisney with the win. AJ Flick was leading, got tangled up with a lap car, I believe. They also got 27 cars, which the big race that we're going to talk about here shortly at Lincoln. The Sterner got 31. So it was good to see still good full car counts at both tracks. But Dylan Sisney with a good solid win. Steve Buckwalter in second. And Mike Walter in third, and Whittle another good top 5 finish. And Austin Bishop, who was your Sunday winner, with an eighth place finish there. Anything to take away from this? Nothing really stood out to me.
Yeah, we were at Lincoln, so we did not watch much of it.
Yeah. Tyler, what about you?
I watched the replay on Sunday. Yeah, I watched the replay on Sunday. I watched the sprint and the late model features, and it's a shame for Flick. I would have liked to seen how he was stacked up there, longer the race went, but sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield, and unfortunately he got tangled up with a lap car. Good run for Stevie Buckwalter. That's a third and a second in the last 2 weeks. I told him at Selinsgrove, third 2 weeks ago, second last week. Now go win 15 grand on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, my takeaways kind of from here is Justin Whittle, fourth, and then really good finish at Selinsgrove. Mike Walter actually, I think, was running fifth when the white flag and got to third. I think he got a 2-piece there at the very end because I was watching that replay of the coming to the checkers, and I believe, and it looked like Walter was in fifth on that rundown, and he ended up third. So I don't know what happened behind the leaders there. Maybe if he can listen in or chime in, or I'll have him text me or something. But really good run there. Obviously, Austin Bishop, right? An eighth and a win. Good weekend for them. There's a couple young guys there, Justin and Austin both. Like, I feel like they get they figure it out. They get it rolling. Those are two guys who could win a lot of races. I really think that I truly do believe that. And they're both young guys, right? They're both young guys who like these big, fast tracks, and they get it figured out. They could both win a lot of races, in my opinion. They just got to put it all together. It's all got to come together. It's sort of that like next group here, right? You look at Mike Walter, Justin Whittle. Not that Mike Walter's a young guy, but at the same time, he doesn't have tons of 410 experience, years and years of it. Whittle, Mike Walter, and Austin Bishop there. Man, that's some good talent for sure. We need that, right? We need that group to really elevate their game. So pretty cool.
Mikey
Absolutely.
Tom, place run, limited 410 experience.
Oh, and shout out Kyle Keene, 2 Port Royal A mains in a row. He's made this feature 2 shows in a row this week. Or no, I'm sorry. This is his second. I'm sorry. He qualified at BAPS. Didn't make Port Royal A main last week. This Saturday is just this past Saturday. Makes his first Port Royal A main out of the heat race. I think we got a text message that said, "Holy shit, I ran the top at Port, and oh my god, I was going fast." So he was like, "Whoa, speed!" Right, 410 at Port Royal, ripping the top. So I don't know how close. I got to go back and watch the heat race. I need to go back and see if I can see it. But shout out to him and learning lap after lap after lap. So
KFK baby, Kyle F. and Keen. It was awesome to see him P18. A lot of people in here, is it just me or does Santos? Thanks for tuning in as always. Is it just me or is that 69K struggling out of the gate this year? I say give it some time. Logan's really good there. I'm thinking they're both having to. We know Logan Wagner. He loves to run the top. He's going from a different car. 69K is also operating on, I guess they only have one motor too. It was one of the reasons why they kind of went with like more of a limited schedule. Who knows? Speculation there. Give it some time. This is only like their 5th race together.
3rd or 4th?
4th?
3rd or 4th?
3rd or 4th? Yeah. I mean, they haven't had much time together. They're going to have to probably meet in the middle because Logan's probably going to have to adjust the way he drives maybe a little bit. And, Kreitz and team are going to have to adjust the way that maybe they adjust a car for him. They're going to find a middle spot. He's still running well. I mean, P7's still good. He's been very, very good. He's been in about the top 10 in all of his races. He'll find some speed. And because I noticed it, I think last Port race where I'm like, man, he's running it's weird seeing Logan not go up top when the top is the line. He was running kind of more middle bottom. I don't know how it was this past weekend for sure. But just give it some time. Give it a couple more weeks. And I'm sure by the time we get into the summer, by Speed Week and stuff, they'll start hitting their stride there. That car is too good and Logan's too good at Port Royal to probably not, I don't see how he doesn't end up with at least one victory, but the competition is also tough at Port Royal. It's the rest of the competition there is also, I think, taking a huge step up. It's real tough. There's a handful of 12 to 14 guys that honestly would not surprise me if they win there any week. You know what I mean? So, you're still dealing with Lance DeWeese, who's still really good in that 12 car. You got Jeff Halligan, Buck Walter, his dad, Mike Wagner. Chase Dietz looks really good in the 1. There's a lot of good cars there. Mike Walter is knocking on the door for 1. AJ Flick could have won. He's been good at Port. So there's a lot of good cars that are there on a weekly basis. So just give it some time. Anything else from Port on Saturday for you guys that you guys noticed?
A lot of late model guys up there testing and tuning for that Lucas Oil show on Sunday. At 38 cars, that's a strong car. That's a strong field of cars.
Yeah, I forgot about 38 super late models. And I think they had 4305s. So good show
right.
support. Sean Keene here, real quick. Kyle's 4th race, last 2 races, made the A main BAPS and Port. So going in the right direction, absolutely. And he's, it's only his 4th, like he said, only his 4th race in the 410. He's making some strides here, and by the end of the season, who knows where he'll be at.
Real quick, backing up just a second. Something we did miss. Mark Smith was in the 10 at Selinsgrove.
Yeah. So
a little bit of news, maybe. Silly season has begun in April, maybe. And then we gotta like sliding into our DMs here. He slipped it in there that it said Dallas shot with quote, wait till this weekend with the zipped lips. But he says it's not him driving this weekend in the 10. But I think a lot of people were kind of caught off guard by like this whole thing happening and there wasn't many announcements. But I had an anonymous source that said Paulie quit because his dad's a dick. So I don't know. I don't know that family. I don't know anything, but that's the anonymous source I got. But it sounds like it's going to continue at least another weekend. But look for about August. They come back together and they make T-shirts that say, look, I'm back with Daddy. So who knows? Who knows?
Go on the Macri route.
Anything could happen here, guys. Anything could happen. But we'll see. I guess we'll find out all this weekend where the 10 will be, if it'll be around here, and who's behind the wheel. I bet Tyler already knows. Tyler probably already has the press release ready.
No, I don't. I don't.
I was confused because it still had Paulie's name on it. And I didn't know until because Race Monitor was also down in the beginning of the Selinsgrove race until after time trials. And I was like, oh, I heard Bert say it was Mark Smith in the 10. I'm like, are you sure he has that right? And yeah, for sure. It was just, I just thought it was weird that, they're from New York, right? Like they're from not necessarily the immediate area to come all the way down, but hey, it's interesting. Silly season already starting. We know how last year went.
Yeah, it was a domino effect once it got rolling. But yeah, that's about it from Selinsgrove and Port.
Yeah.
What else? I forget. Anything
else?
Got
to go to Billy here. Billy, the ultimate show of knowledge tonight.
Listen,
I like how in quotes here.
He does that because all he does, at least he's watching live tonight, not tomorrow, and he corrects me on everything I said all damn night. So appreciate you tuning in, Billy. Watch your YouTube video from last weekend's Port race. That was you kept saying you weren't comfortable in the fence. I just think it might be a little too fast for you up there. Maybe. So you gotta put her on the wall, bud. Go get after it.
Shout out to Billy. He let Jimmy and I cut in line and take a picture with him and the Macho Man cut out.
Did. Oh, nice.
I'm just standing hanging out. He lets us cut in line. What a guy,
I tell you what, we're going to talk about here in a minute.
You know why he didn't want you there, Jeremy? Because you're mean to him all the time.
I didn't. I saw him. I said hi. I laughed at them, with the cutouts. But I'll tell you what, Billy looked good Saturday night. He was aggressive. He was getting after it. So I know we're going to get into it, but I at least want to put it out there before we get sidetracked and don't talk about it. I was standing 3 and 4, and he was getting after it in 3 and 4. So it was cool to see.
Well, let's get into it then. Lincoln, Sterner, Anthony Macri making it look easy, but let's go before all that because the Fan Fest was great. The entire event went off. It was great weather, just a great event. The Fan Fest was good. There was a lot of fans there. We had a great time. Tyler, you were doing a great job with Ashley doing everything for the 358s. Tell us how you were involved and how your night went, at least from your side of things.
So we knew that everything in the 410 deal was going to be, we were going to have sponsors for everything in the 410 deal. I said, well, what can we do for the 358s? And I said, well, why don't we pay money to win the heats? And that was a great idea. So I pitched in, she pitched in, we had a couple other people. We were able to get $100 to each heat winner. There were 4 heats. We got a hard luck award and a hard charger award for the 358s. Actually, the hard charger and the hard luck award in the 358s got more money than that respective person in the 410s did. It was $250 for hard luck, $250 for hard charger. So like a guy like Jaden Wolf, who I feel so bad for, he got a hard luck award at $250 after getting upside down in the feature, but he also got $100 for winning his heat. So he got an extra $350. I know that doesn't go towards a lot when it comes to fixing a tore up race car, but it's stuff like that we wanted to do for the 358s to make it feel part of it. And I thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everything helps too. It's a little extra than what they're used to, right? I mean, this isn't what they normally get on a normal Saturday. So anything a little extra it makes it that extra special. And the cars showed out. There was 40. Was there 41?
41.
358?
41.
We were told at the drivers' meeting that was the highest 358 car count at Lincoln in 5 years.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
And the funny thing is, Ashley tells me after the drivers' meeting that when she first started, that was a normal night at Lincoln to run 4 heats and 2 B mains. That was a normal night at Lincoln back then.
Yeah, it was. And it has thinned out some, not like they're ever struggling to get a full field, but it has thinned out some over the years where, guys pick and choose different programs. They move up, they move down, they go elsewhere. But yeah, that was very normal. It was very normal to have huge car counts 35 plus cars every single week in the 358 division on a Saturday night. So, Dallas, honestly, you said, I didn't know there was 41 358 around anymore. We saw a few this weekend that we've never seen before.
Adam Carberry in a 358.
Yeah, there was a few that I've never seen and a few that showed up for the first time this season. So it was pretty cool.
Usually I can tell you who's who when they're going around for like engine heat. Honest to gosh, and for this to happen to me does not happen very often. There were 6, 7 cars. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Right.
And I know that there's that these guys are coming out of the woodworks.
Yeah, I came around the corner into the pits there, and I wasn't there late by any means. There were still trucks filing in. It looked like all afternoon, but I came around the corner and I went, "Is that I didn't even know if it was a 410 or a 358." I'm like, "What is this?" Then I remembered, and there was another one, the 98 car, the Roselli car. It was down all the way down toward turn 3. I swore that was a 410. I swore it was a 410 all day and night. I didn't walk up and look at the car, but then when I realized what it was, who it was, I'm like, okay, 358. But there was a lot of people going, I don't know half the people sitting here. They're drivers in the field. I don't know who half these guys were. Yeah. So, but it was awesome. I mean, it was awesome to see the support.
I think it's all a testament to, like we talked with Ashley last week, and I know Tyler, you were kind of on the inside here. Testament to just you put the effort into promoting your event and making it a big deal. The racers will show out. The fans will show out. I think it's a great job. I saw Ashley for a brief second to give her peeps and told her congrats because I know she was stressed for way too long now about it, and it was great to see it all come together.
Wait, you said give her peeps or props?
Yes,
peeps.
Both.
I
gave her peeps and props.
Got one of these awesome totes. They were filled with goodies, a whole bag of pretzels that our buddy Austin Griffey completely destroyed during the feature. Just using it as a rally towel and pretzels.
I don't even know who he was rallying up. Things got wild. The infield got wild in turn 2.
It was certainly a good night, and I was very happy that she got rewarded. With good weather and everything. One of the best parts of the night, I go down. I want to make sure that somebody drew her pill because with the Fan Fest, and I knew Chuck Reiner was supposed to pull her pill, but I wanted to make sure that we ended up getting a pill drawn and not, have to start at the back of the heat because nobody pilled for us. So I go up to Householder and I said, well, what did Ashley get drawn for? Did Chuck draw for her yet? Yeah, he drew. Well, what did he draw? And he told me, I'm like, no. Let me see the draw sheet because I didn't believe him because usually our luck with pill draw is not very good. And I looked at it and it was the 1. Chuck pulled a 1 for her on Saturday. So that was why she was on the pole first heat.
It's rigged.
No.
He's like, don't even start that shit, Jimmy.
I don't want to hear that bullshit. No. So I came back to tell her. I said, hey, and she knew where I was going. And when I came back, she's like, well, what did Chuck draw? And I said, he drew the 1. She's like, what? I said, he drew the 1. And her face just about dropped right onto the table that she was signing autographs on.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Very cool.
She had a hell of a line too when we passed by through the Fan Fest. It was cool to see.
Yeah. And she did a great job in the heat race. That was a hell of a race between her and Frankie in the heat race. And anybody that knows me knows that I've known Frankie since I was probably 7 or 8 years old. So I've known him for 30 years. And her in the same heat race, starting behind each other. My blood pressure was like through the roof during that heat race when they were running side by side. And it took me a little while to kind of get my blood pressure back down, but that was a hell of a race too.
Buddy, I'm not as close to either of them as you are. And when they banged wheels down the backstretch, my blood pressure went up. I was standing right there, and they went by, and they banged wheels right after this picture. They banged wheels, and I'm like, oh no.
I was up on top of Eichelberg. I was up on top of the 8 trailer, on top of Eichelberger's trailer. When that happened, I about fell off the trailer.
Oh, I'm telling you. And listen, her night really, all the things were lining up for a good night, because not only did she pull the 1, but the initial start on that heat, she was going to be 5th in turn 1. So, and then we had a cautioner red come out, got to redo it, had a much better start second go around, and got a P2 in the heat. So, very fortunate to get a redo a little bit there, right? So again, I couldn't see everything how it went, but it didn't go well that first trip around.
No, thank God for a car, the last place car spinning out.
Usually
he did a lot shit when that happens, but I didn't mind it that time.
he did a few times. I don't know who that was. I don't want to disparage anyone, but he had a rough evening. That gentleman. So
yeah, and then you just at the mercy of the redraw, all the time. And her mom ended up redrawing an 8, and just stayed out of trouble. Had a nice pass of Latimus there at the end, so that was. It was a good solid night, and able to roll the car in the trailer in one piece with a top 10. You can't ask for anything better than that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was quite the feature. Do we want to get into that 358 feature at all right now, or we want to circle back?
Well, we're on it right now. Let's talk about that first, I guess, before we go back into the 410s.
I stand where I stand, and I don't get to see as much as I used to in the stands, but I still feel like I have a pretty good feel for what's happening in these races. And I can't remember a 358 feature in a long time that, the best cars in the field couldn't do anything. Like, not that they couldn't make speed, but it was hard to pass. And I don't know if it was, the track was around the bottom. Yeah, but you could move a little if you had to. If you had speed, guys in that division will make it work. And I'm telling you, that battle between Scott Fisher and Frankie Herr was epic. I mean, Frankie tried lap after lap after lap, and Doug Hamaker, he had the wing trunk, had that thing tight, didn't really get up there and battle for the lead. You got, Logan Rumsey, who's a winner at Lincoln Speedway. He's a top 10 car there, and it was just hard to pass. Everybody was fast. But Aiden Herr, I'm telling you what, this kid, I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm surprised, okay? Because just like Tyler, we were talking before the show, you get a red flag right before the end of the race, and you got Scott Fisher, Frankie Herr, and Doug Hamaker on your tail tank, and he just walks away. That car, that has to be one of the best, most dominating performances by a young guy that I remember seeing. Like, I've seen people win that don't win a lot, right? I've seen some people get their first, second win, and they do what they have to do, right? Around the bottom at Lincoln, they just didn't mess up. He didn't just do what he had to do. He was gone every start and restart. I was nervous at that last one for sure. Why wouldn't I be nervous? But I'm telling you, man, that thing was on rails. It was awesome. It was impressive.
Most dominating first career win I've seen since Jaden won his first career race, because I remember his first win, he pretty much kicked their asses too.
Yeah.
That's like exactly what I said. I said that kid just flat out kicked the ass of probably 3 of the best to ever do it in a 358.
Yeah. Yeah. And like even that last restart, 4 laps to go, he caught lap traffic with 2 to go coming to the white. Yeah. And you don't know how much of a lead you do or don't have. If he had signals or whatever, he couldn't have. He's a young guy. He did it perfect. He didn't force it. He didn't try to press the issue there. He rode behind them and he did it. Brandon, that was his 4th career 358 start.
Yeah. 4th career start.
Yep. So, just crazy. So, by the way, Billy Dietrich, no, man, listen, yeah, it's easy for me to say from the grandstands, you should be on the wall, but I wasn't even there. Okay. It wasn't even from the grandstands. I wasn't even there. Didn't even see it. So, Billy, like I said, give you props last night, man, or Saturday night at Lincoln for sure. So, but yeah, this feature was wild because I don't know what it looked like from the stands, but for me, I'm nervous for Aiden. There's like no way Scott, Frankie, and Doug don't get to him and turn him in, make him look like it's his 4th race. It's the craziest stuff I've seen. And he was just checked out from minute 1. It was awesome.
And Jaden was trying to make the top work, and unfortunately it bit him.
I saw him in Victory Lane when you guys handed him the hard luck award. And I said, buddy, I patted him on the chest and I said, man, you didn't have to do it. Like, you didn't have to be up there. You're running 7th. You weren't gaining on him. You were kind of there all night. I know you love the top, but buddy, 1 and 2, there was some room left before the wall. Like you had a little bit of margin for error. 3 and 4, I saw Macri. He had the right rear wheel was bent after the race he won. Like I know you could get up there quick in 3 and 4. He said he got arrow tight, went up in the wall and bit it. So I was like, man, you just didn't have to do it. Like they're running on a budget this year. They're only running Lincoln. He didn't want to tear up a race car. So man, I felt, and he was pretty sore too. I think his back was a little pretty sore. So I imagine he's feeling it today. Hopefully he's doing okay. I should have actually texted him, but just hated to see it, man. I felt so bad, but at the same time, I'm like, buddy, you didn't have to be up there like at that point of the race, So
Kyle Keen
anyway.
with the zinger in here.
Who?
Him and Billy are going back and forth a little bit, and he said, Kyle Keen says, "I'll come to Lincoln when you run the top at Port."
I saw somebody messaged about Billy heat race start. How good was that? And I think all of us collectively were holding our breaths to see if he was getting away with it. We were like,
listen, when I heard Billy was going to be on the pole, I was like, oh boy,
like, we're watching this. Everyone in the building was watching that one. Don't even think about thundering that throttle.
Everybody that knows anything about Central PA racing was holding their breath to see what was about to happen on that start. So
especially especially how good it was. I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what they do here.
Back to the 358 feature. Yeah. Ashley Capetta with a 7th. Just great night, obviously. Another person that impressed me was Wyatt Hinkle, because he was running a damn Sportsman out there in the B main. And what happened? How did he get into the feature? Because he was just one spot short.
So what happened was our buddy Kyle Spence didn't go to the scales after the heat race when he finished 5th.
Yeah.
So he got disqualified. With running 2 B mains, they were originally going to take 2 out of each B main, but it's not fair because the disqualification happened in the 4th heat. It wasn't fair to take 2 out of one B and 3 out of another. So what they said was the 3rd place finisher that had the better heat race finish was going to get the last spot. Well, Spence ran 3rd in B main 2, but he was credited with last for finishing last in his heat race. So Wyatt technically had the better heat race finish. So that's how they determined who got that last spot.
Oh, man, that was a costly mistake. Can't they figure that out?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I love you, but I'm sorry, man. I just had to.
Well, here's my question though.
Kyle Spence also looked really good in his heat, man. Like he looked awesome all night too.
And he looked really good in the B main coming from last. I would say he was pissed off in the B main.
8th to 3rd twice.
Well, here's my question though. Why, if he was DQ'd in the heat, why didn't they move a guy up into that spot?
Because that's what they don't do. They don't do that.
What they don't do. Okay, that's a fair enough answer, I guess.
I mean, it makes sense. It would make sense. I mean, when we ran Sportsman at Silver Spring, if someone was DQ'd after the heat race, you would just naturally move the field up one.
That makes sense. That's why.
So how's that rundown look? Is there a blank spot in the 5th position in that heat race now?
No freaking idea. I didn't look. I didn't have.
Nobody finishes 5th? Like what?
But yeah, that's how they explained it to us in the pits, was that the 3rd place cars, basically whoever had the better heat race finish of those 2. I said, well, it's going to get real interesting if the 3rd place finisher in the B main had the same finish in the heat race. But
yeah, they're going to have to play rock, paper, scissors for the transfer.
A 1-lap dash for the last spot.
No, we don't need more we don't need another event on track, Tyler. Jesus.
Race on the front stretch.
Yeah,
5 foot.
Oh, then the 6th place car didn't scale, so that wouldn't have counted either because they would have been in 5th and had to scale. That checks out. I mean, at least they're scaling the cars. I didn't know they even did that in that division. Okay.
I did like seeing Kyle visibly drive pissed off and look good, and I know it didn't end that night that well that night, but honestly, like if he would have gotten through to the feature, I mean, he probably would have been up there in the top 10 mixing it up for sure. I mean, he looked fast all night.
I said, if he could have made it into the feature and started dead last, I said, oh, this is going to be interesting watching him come from the rear.
I thought he was going to dive bomb that 2nd place car in that B. I thought he was just going to throw it in there at one point on that last lap and just see what happened, but he didn't. Like, that's a very Kyle, like veteran, not ruin someone else's night when mine's not going well kind of thing. But I thought he was going to shove it in there. I really did. I thought he was going to get after it.
Right.
But yeah, Wyatt Hinkle too. He got caught up in his B main. He had no front wing and a crumpled up, basically top wing. He looked like a sportsman out there, and he came from last place in his B main to get the third. And he was on pretty close to the tail tank of second place too, driving pissed off. It looked like, and he looked fast too, and he ended up getting a P17 out of that whole deal, thanks to that whole debacle. So good for him, and we'll talk more about him later. So anything else from the 358 feature that you guys want to point out? Anybody else that kind of stuck out to you, or anything else?
Yeah, a couple of them for me. Adam Carberry. Okay.
Yes.
Adam Carberry shows up with a 358. Obviously, he's related to Jesse Carberry, a fellow photographer. Jesse does URC photography for the URC series. And, when I saw that car show up, obviously it's a 358. I saw it earlier in the day, they're going to bring the car out. And this is an interesting one because we've seen some 360 guys come over and run 358s before,
Brannick.
Hayden Miller, he would occasionally do a 358 thing, but he always ran URC. I think he's got a 410 now too. So he was up at Selinsgrove. But anyway, at some point, these guys that are URC guys, how long are they going to go running 7 races a year, other than Florida? Because, they only schedule 14, 15, 17 races, and half of them get rained out last year. They ran a handful. They've already had a doubleheader rained out this year. At some point, these guys, if they want to race, they got to do something. And Adam Carberry kind of did that. He got rid of it sounds like he sold a 360 and bought a 358 in the offseason. He wants to race, and he shows up and gets a P5, gets a top 5 in his first event at 358. So against a hell of a field here. So that's one thing. Yeah. And Mike Bittinger's the other one. I haven't seen Mike in a 358 event in a long time. And Mike comes out and runs a P6. And he's a veteran. He's been around. He's won races, Trailway Pro. Seen Mike win a Trailway, and I've seen him up about the high as the fence goes in turn 1. So a little bit of everything from Mike. But it was cool to see Mike back in the car and being very competitive. Those are two that kind of stood out for me.
Yeah, Carberry was a surprise for me. Being that he's a URC guy, but hey, you know what? He came in and he had a great run. I'll give the boy credit. He raced hard, and it would be a nice add. Certainly for Lincoln's field for a majority of the year when they're not running with URC. So I think that's a good pickup for Lincoln in the field.
Yeah, agreed.
I also owe him a shirt. I need to buy a shirt off him because he pulled my 50-50 ticket a couple of years ago at Bloomsburg. So I owe him a shirt, and I passed by his trailer, and when we were on our way home, I'm like, damn it, I should have bought a shirt. So another on the record note that I need to buy a shirt. So
okay. The other takeaway I have is I think I'm trying to fit James Roselli, the 98 car. First time in a 358 as well, and he qualifies against a very, very tough field. And has a solid, has an 18th place finish, but he logged laps.
Yeah.
And he wasn't out of control. He looked very well in control. I was talking to his crew chief, Louis Ciccone. The Rosellis and the Ciccones know each other from the eastern Pennsylvania area. So it was neat talking to Louis, and they plan on racing a lot with the 358s this year. So that's another nice addition.
And there's still some other 358s in the area that haven't been out yet. I know of a couple that I know that are building cars, waiting for parts, waiting for motors. Believe it or not, that haven't been out yet. It might be some Williams Grove, right? Some Williams Grove only kind of cars. So there's still a few out there in the weeds that we haven't seen yet.
I'm on the market right down. If we have a bigger paying 358 show later in the year, I'm hoping 50 cars.
That could be crazy.
No, Ron actually I saw this rundown, Ron, and I apologize. A 41 car field, and Jude Siegel makes the A main and runs 15th. So very cool for Jude. He's getting better week by week by week when, keeping that thing on the track. They've had some parts break last year or the year before, I think, and set them back, and some things going on. So he needs the seat time, and that was impressive for him to make the feature for sure. Did a great job all night, just held his own, did what he needed to do, and he's logging laps, and he gets faster every week. So Ron, and that's on me. I mean, there's so many stories in this field when I look at these 24 cars, just these 24.
Yeah.
Let alone some of the guys who didn't make it. Chad Criswell with the issue that he had. Just stories. So, Jude for sure. Talked to him a little bit before the race. Just did a nice job.
Yeah, and it never hurts having Steve Siegel and Jim Siegel as your crew.
Doesn't hurt at all. That's not too bad.
Hard charger.
There you go. Look at that.
An extra $250.
Hey,
all right.
How about that? So great, good to see the 358 class driving. Well, I shouldn't say thriving, but still 41 cars. That's a great night for that division. Let's go to the 20K to win race though. 410 feature, 31 cars showed up, or 32. Anthony Macri though, I don't know. That's all I could do.
It's Anthony Macri.
He was lights out from the drop of hot laps last night or Saturday night. Just all night. He was the guy to beat.
It's been interesting to see if that race would have stayed when that debris yellow come out. Because I think that little Freddie was there for the trying to see if he could maybe get Macri to make a mistake on the cushion. But when the caution come out and he had free open air, I'm like, this race is over now. And then, good run for Lucas too, because I think if it wasn't for that last yell, I think Lucas was getting ready to drive by Freddie for second.
Yeah, Freddie was coming too for Macri, but I think Macri was just trying to buy his time through lap traffic. I think if he would have heard Freddie getting closer, he probably would have turned on the jets a little bit more. I think he was saving a little bit, my personal opinion, but I mean, he was just lights out.
And the other interesting thing I take from the 410 race is where would Danny have ended up if he didn't have the crank switch trigger brake? Because he was starting fifth.
What a shit weekend for Danny, man. What a shit weekend for him. I feel terrible for him, to be honest. I mean, just back-to-back days, just tough and fast. Definitely he would have been right there in the mix there for the win, without a doubt.
Top three, almost top three guaranteed.
Yeah.
If something doesn't break.
Chris, what do you think about the 410s?
I agree with Danny Dietrich. Probably going to be guaranteed top three. He's been that way all year. Had his stuff doesn't break. The only time he hasn't finished up there is when he's either broke something or Williams Grove night where everything went wrong. But Anthony Macri off the high limit win last weekend. That team's almost back in where they were this time last year, as far as form goes, where they unload and they're a problem for everyone else that unloads.
Anywhere they go to,
right?
Like they were a problem with high limit all last weekend.
Right.
I think you said they're almost back to where they were last year. I think they're there, and I think they're gonna get better, which should be scary.
Sure. Obviously Troy Wogman in fourth there, he did good, but Billy finally turning the bad luck around, finishing sixth, and Ryan Newton fifth. There's impressive runs for me. it's an impressive field, and any of those guys in that field had a good day, and especially that top 10.
I want to ask Jeremy a question. Did you happen to get a shot of Callum Williamson's wheelie in time trials?
No, I was sitting off 2. I got his wheelie off of 2 in time trials. I watched it from all the way to the opposite side. I was doing video. I did video of everybody's time trial through 1 and 2 and all down the backstretch. So I watched it, but I didn't have photos of it. No, I was still outside the track. I watched it. It was pretty gnarly. Apex Media, shout out to those guys. They have a video of it up on IG, I think. It's wild.
Yeah. Them Aussies know how to do wheelies. I'm telling you, they have.
they're not afraid of the right pedal. That's for sure.
They have wheelie contests over in Australia. Them guys know how to do them right.
Of course they do.
As soon as I saw it, and I think we were talking about it right after time trials, it reminded me of Derek Hauk at Bloomsburg a couple years ago, where he had he had all 4 wheels off the ground. Yeah. It was pretty damn close to that. I'm like, he's going to take off, man. He was
to carry that wheelie down the whole front stretch at Lincoln.
It was nuts.
Yeah, wild. This race, and Anthony had him covered, but I agree with Tyler. That run through right before the debris caution, Freddie was getting there, and that lap traffic made it possible. He gets close enough for 20 grand. He's going to take a shot at it, but he never quite got close enough to get the opening, right? So, and it was hard to run the bottom and make speed. And when you're out there as the leader, so they were. Freddie was kind of cheating 3 and 4 as a slider line. And Anthony was on the wall the whole time, running different lines. But Freddie was just as we expected. Everyone said, "Hey, Macri drew the pole. This is over." Listen, lap traffic changes everything. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. It can take all it takes is one corner, one car at the wrong place, and your momentum is shot for a lap, and you don't know what's going to happen. So, and as fast as they were around the top, that's all it would take.
Yep.
Just didn't fall that way. And even on that restart, they came down, took the green. You know, if Macri bobbles in 3 and 4 at all, and Freddie went to the bottom, he could have been there. So he wasn't close enough to take a shot and actually throw the slider, but he dove it down in there. And if Macri came out and made a bobble in 3 and 4, Freddie was going to be there. So, you know,
right.
Macri did his job. There, you can't take a thing away from him. He did everything he's supposed to do as a leader, drawing the pole, time trials. He did it all right, and you can't take that from him for sure.
Sometimes I'd rather be a little lucky than good, but on Saturday he was both.
A little bit of both. A lot of good and a little lucky. Like I said, that right rear wheel was bent in victory lane. So he bounced it off the wall, I guess, in 3 and 4. I missed it. I don't know if I wasn't looking because I was standing there, but I missed it for sure. Lucas Wolf, man, super impressive. Like I lost track of who was who during that long run. And I'm like, I saw Troy. Troy was, got up to third, and him and Ryan Newton were battling third, fourth. And all of a sudden I'm like, Troy lost a spot. Wait, is Lucas a lap car? Or is he there? Like, shame on me for not just assuming he's in third, but I'm like, damn, he passed some race cars under green flag and was hauling ass. And he was side by side with Freddie All4 that one time after that restart. And that car was digging. I couldn't see anything in 1 and 2 from where I was, but hell yeah, Lucas, let's go. I love that kinds of life, man. I want this speed. Everybody, there's nobody out there that's rooting against that guy. Like, we all win when he wins. We all are happy. We talked about this last year. We're all happy people when Lucas Wolf is winning and doing well. So
got the prettiest race car in Central PA.
The what?
He's got the best looking race car in Central PA.
It's hard. Every time I take a picture of it, I look at it, I edit it. The helmet's perfect with the car. Like it's.
You think the BAPS paint scheme looked better than the old Milwaukee, or which one do you like better?
I did like the blue and orange a little bit. That one, but when this one came out with the helmet combo, the gold, man, this one's sharp. I have a hard time thinking they'll top it. When they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, great run by him. I was impressed with Ryan Newton too. He started second, third, and stayed up there the whole time.
Third.
Him, Troy, Lucas, they were all battling out. Billy looked great up there as well. It was like a dogfight between, like, once Freddie got kind of clear of third and back to go after Macri. It was a dogfight between like third and like seventh. It was fun to watch, and Kyle Reinhardt with a good run too. Did he come from the? Did he have to come from the B? No.
I think so.
No, he did not. That was in BAPS. He came from the B.
Yeah.
He was ripping the fence in BAPS behind Newton. He did not have to go out of the B tonight or Saturday, but he didn't start that far forward, I don't think.
No,
Brandon Raymer, though. I think Brandon Raymer went 18th to 10th, I want to say.
Damn.
And he ended up battling with some really good race cars there. The moves he put on with Moody, that battle he had going. But that battle between Billy and Matt Campbell was awesome. Man, that was fun. That was fun to watch. I put my camera down a couple times. I was just like watching. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. Like,
battle flying mullets.
It was freaking cool. And Ryan Newton, man, impressive. Just did what he had to do. I think he learns from last year when he first showed up to now. He's just grown tremendously, like learning the tracks around here and learning what to do and what not to do. And he's still going to have some ups and downs, but he's just impressive every time he gets on the racetrack. And he's like, you can almost see him learning lap by lap, kind of like we talked about some other guys, and he's getting it. So
he's also been in a race car since December. You got to remember, he came straight over from Australia as their season was over. He's been in a car since December.
And if anybody's watching this and doesn't know Ryan Newton, you should know, and don't be surprised if he wins a race this year somewhere. Don't be, because I'm not. I won't be. Kid's good.
I'll go on record on say he wins multiple races at Lincoln.
I think things have to go right. I mean, I think to beat Freddie and the experience Freddie has, things have to go right. I'm not doubting that, but I think things have to go right, and it wouldn't surprise me. Still, it would not. Multiple
weeks where there's not a whole lot of heavy hitters there, but the track is up on the wall. That'll be the night.
He'll get after it. Yeah, he's not scared of it for sure. What else here?
I want to touch one thing on Ryan Newton because we were trying to talk to him. Me and Chris were we were talking to Seth, who is with the
Seth who?
66. Like Ant said, got the 66 rolling. Who wasn't rolling was Chris, because Seth was ready to go Saturday morning to go on that foot race, and Chris was like, "Nah, man, this ain't the time."
This guy doesn't listen to what I say on the show, even when he comes on the show or when he interviews me at BAPS. I told him front stretch of Williams Grove. You're not in the parking lot at 2:30. You're not foot racing in a parking lot at 2:30. Get out of here, Joker. Plus, he waits to the one time that I don't have any running shoes on and jeans, so he comes up in a full tracksuit. Like, oh, I'm ready. And like, put your dish winged away and listen to the rule book, Seth.
Hold on, we got a picture.
Joker
Seth here. This is why Ryan Newton was going so fast over the weekend.
This is the reason.
That right there. Look at that.
Look at that. Oh
Yeah.
He said he had to sit down because his legs were tired from carrying all the good looks. I don't know. You all be the judge.
I mean, all those new shades, man. I'm just telling you, he just got those things. You could tell. Look at him. And meanwhile, where he's standing right there, he's cheating on Ryan Newton with the other Aussie. He's up by Callum Williamson. I said, whose team? Do you know who you work for? Like, who are you helping here? What's up with you and the Aussies, my guy? This guy, I'm telling you.
Good help's hard to find, man.
Oh, man.
All right, what else?
So I think that just had a great time. I think overall, I'm glad the event was great for Ashley. Good for Lincoln. It was a good crowd there. Everybody had fun. Just great.
So I do want to shout this out. And, for the last however long we've been doing this show, something that I've really been hard on tracks for, all of them, all in general, Central PA is promotion. This is how it's done. Okay. For all of the things people were like, oh, how are they going to clear the pits out? Get these people out of here. I don't give a shit. You let people come in there. You let these kids come in and see these race cars in the daytime. They're not tired yet. They want to see the race cars. They're all there. Whether they saw the drivers or not, I don't care, right? Some of the kids don't even know what the drivers look like. So they got to see the race cars. This was an event that had a good race. This was an event that had a race at the end, and you got to do both. You didn't just show up, sit down, and watch a race, and your kids fall asleep in the stands. They still might have fallen asleep, but they got to do something before the event that involved the race teams, that involved the racing event. Super proud of the way that went. I hope that the reviews that fans like myself and you guys and kids take note and do this kind of stuff more often. If you're going to have a high-paying race, you're going to have a lot of race cars before anything gets moving. And Lincoln still was trying to get trailers in the damn place when it started just about, but that's okay. That's a good problem to have. That can be done, and it needs to be done more often. Some of the things I saw in the pits, the kids, and like, they got people's signatures. They were getting their shirts signed. They were getting free candy. I know a lot of tracks do good promotion and they do events, and I get it. There's a lot of tracks that do this stuff. But when it's a big event from one of the big three tracks, this goes a long way. In my mind, it goes a long way. This needs to happen more often. And it doesn't need to just happen on a random Saturday night. This needs to happen when you're going to get people. People are going to come out. It can be a free event. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do this. I'm very, very proud of Lincoln, proud of Ashley and their team for getting this and putting it all together and getting it pulled off, because listen, I had a good time watching the kids have a good time. I'm a dad. I got little ones. I wish I would have had them with me. They would have loved it, right? But just the logistics and things. So that was awesome. Yeah. And I think adults had a good time too. To be honest with you, there were some adults that maybe have never been in the pits before.
Right.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Put that out there.
And we talked about this with the high limit thing, and there's some logistical things, maybe with high limit because they're doing it after time trials and whatever. But they got this idea of it's an event every night for them, and we see a couple people in the chat right now, Dallas Shot, Aunt Bay, a couple other people. They should do this multiple times a year, and I agree. Port Royal also had their camera and photograph night, which is kind of the same deal. They open up the pits, let people go in, but it's usually once a year, maybe twice. They should. I don't know about once a month.
I think it's
maybe in those, it might be a good idea for those nights that if you're going up against another track, or just like a regular weekly show in the middle of the summer when you're trying to get people to the track. might be good to throw something like that in there. But like 3 or 4 times a year at least, I think, and especially for their big shows, they should do this. I think all big shows should do it. Outlaws, High Limit, big paying races like this, they should all do it in some way. But you know, you don't want to kill it either by oversaturating it at the same time. Go ahead.
I agree. You know, I think some of the bigger shows, it would be awesome, you know, to do this a little bit more often. I know Lanco, Clyde Martin, the micro track. I think they still open the pits at intermission time to let general admission people in. They do that on a weekly basis, or at least they did back when I used to go there. I don't know if they still do it or not, but that was always one of the highlights as a little kid, knowing that the drivers were already in uniform, so you knew who the drivers were. And at intermission time, you go in there, get a couple autographs, see how everybody's. Yep, Ant just said it. Yes, they still do it. I thought so, because they do it every week down at Lanco, where they open the pits at intermission time, and then when the first feature gets called to staging, if you don't have the armband, you got to go back out in the grandstand.
Yeah. I you know, and I put this as an adult before I kind of got involved in the sport that I am at the level I am now. You know, I was buying pit passes the last couple of years. I'm in the pits all the time now. It does become like a routine normal to me. But 5, 8, 10 years ago, I didn't go into pits ever. I was a fan. I drank my beer. I sat in the stands and raised hell. That was fine. Twice a year, I went in the pits. I went in for Outlaw show at Lincoln and one other race a year. And I, as an adult, walking through the pits when I didn't do that often before the show, I went super early when the pits opened and walked up and down on the Outlaw show at Lincoln. And I was a kid in a candy store. Like, this was cool to me. And I was a damn grown adult. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine what if kids have been going with their parents every weekend, they're going in the infield, they're getting drug around here, whether they like the racing or not, to go in and see the cars up close, daytime, not dirty. People are happy before they've lost or broke something, right? Like, true. All the teams are in a good mood for the most part. It was just cool to see. So, I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Hopefully we can do that for the September show. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, just a great overall thing. It was great to see just so many fans out there. And, so let's move on to some national stuff here. A little bit of controversy with the world of Outlaws on Friday night. And we're going to bring up a video here so we could all watch it if you haven't seen it already. Buddy Kofoid and David Gravel.
Gravel back by the 41. Gravel back to third. Here comes Kofoid to the inside of Gravel. Looks to try to take the second spot. Contact. Gravel sideways and upside down with Brock Zierfoss. David Gravel and Brock Zierfoss upside down after contact, battling for the second spot coming out of turn 4. And David Gravel over to talk to Buddy Kofoid on the back straightaway.
So this race was awesome. Sean Haudenschild wins. Pretty much leads the entire thing. Bill Balog with a good run. Gonna let this play here, and we could keep watching it here. In the screen here, you have Macedo, Gravel, and Balog in frame. And then out of nowhere comes Buddy. And he makes his slider, and the person that probably gets the shit end of the stick out of everybody is Brock Zierfoss. We'll talk about that at the end here. I didn't think it was that crazy of a move by Buddy, considering the way that they were already racing. So I think where Gravel's frustration is, hey, why are we racing like this? You're coming from out of nowhere. We're throwing sliders all the time. This is what's going to end up happening. What are your thoughts on this? Let's start with Chris.
It's hard racing. I don't know that that's the lap to make that move, and I don't know that it was even necessary. But you are racing David Gravel, who's going to be probably your biggest competition if you're truly chasing this championship. I don't know. Once you commit, you kind of have to commit, which he did, I guess. I just don't know if that's the move. That is a rookie driver on the tour that you're wanting to. It's going to help you down the road, if that makes sense, especially when you already have history.
Yeah,
with
it's not Baylog's fault. Baylog really had nowhere to go. To me, looking at it, Buddy was going to be able to clear gravel, but Baylog kind of stumbles up top a little bit, just kind of stalls up there. And I don't think Buddy was expecting to clear him, but then at one point just kind of went and finished it off. So
I mean, if even if you say Baylog stumbled up there, if he doesn't, I think he's just gonna get right reared or stuffed in some way because it was gonna match up a lot more different. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, comments are kind of saying Gravel maybe knows better. It can react, giving the gap. He could probably do something on his end as well. But I mean, you're Baylog, you're kind of along for it, and you see it coming. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just racing. I'm with you, Chris, though. Like, is that the lap to be thrown it on? But it was after a restart. You kind of have to go when you have the shot.
I mean, I get it, but
Tyler, what do you think?
Well, that's Buddy's driving style. You know, Buddy come from the midgets. Ant just said that. That's that mentality of a midget slide or die, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's Buddy's protege. Right now is I've been watched enough of him in the midgets to know that's the way you race in the midgets, because it's grandpa's money or daddy's money. All those midget rides are all bought rides. So of course they're going to drive like that, and maybe not the best time to throw a slider like that. I mean, I could certainly, I think Gravel would also understand if that was the last lap and they're going for the win, but I don't know what lap did that happen.
Lap 9, and said,
was it 13?
Something around.
Yeah, when it comes back on here, it'll say what lap. I think it was like either lap 13 or 13 to go or something like that.
I think
Gravel, sorry,
that if it happened later in the race as well, but I can understand making a move like that on the last lap or coming down for, like, say, the white flag or something. But that's the way they race in the midgets, and that's the way he knows how to race. And I'm not being critical of I don't I look at it as just hard racing. I don't look at it as somebody doing something deliberate or something. But when you're used to one driving style, it kind of that's kind of what you get.
Jay-Z?
I don't see anything wrong with this. It is a restart. You get what you can on restarts. The track conditions created this environment. Everybody's acting like this is the only slider that was thrown all damn night.
No.
He never intended to be in front of Baylog, in my opinion. Look how slow he came back up across. He knew he was going to clear gravel. I don't think he had ever had any intention of getting Baylog too. But I do agree. Baylog's up on the wall. I think his speed slowed him down enough. And then Baylog had to turn down because he did see it. Like, watch how slow he comes up across. He dives in there hard, obviously, to clear gravel because he had a run. He has a run. He shows up in the frame with a run. Look, he knows he's going to clear gravel. Look how slow this is.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't think he ever intended to think Baylog was going to be there. Yeah, gravel gets the shit end of the stick here, and I get he's upset. He got his race ruined, but if Buddy wanted to go and slide someone and slide or die, he would have just right reared someone. I don't think he ever intended to be in front of Baylog. Maybe he did. I don't know. But obviously it gets tight off the corner there when gravel has a run on Baylog, right? And Baylog has to turn down. So I understand that, like, gravel's upset. Maybe that's a carryover for his whatever happened at I-55 there, and that's okay. But I don't really necessarily go with the thing of, like, that's the way Buddy races. I watched that race. Everyone raced that way.
Yeah, they were. Look at right here. You had Macedo sliding gravel, and then he comes right back.
So, like, it wasn't just, this is a midget. Like, the track created this, and if you don't throw a slider, you're not passing race cars. And for that matter, on a restart, I don't care if this is lap 19 because he wants to go try to win a race. If this is the last lap and he does this, I'm actually more pissed off because this is for what position? Second, third, fourth?
Second.
Yeah.
If this is to go take the win and you doing this, okay, on the last lap. But if you're going to go do that on the last lap to finish third, I'm actually more pissed off than I am at lap 19 to try to go get a win. Like, I don't know. I don't see that this is a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal because it's making news.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not taking Buddy and saying, dude, don't ever do that again. Absolutely not.
Right. No, and like
you're not trying.
I agree. It's hard racing. Trying. It's hard racing. I think it's, and like I said, I think it's a culmination of what's been going on there and just Buddy's style of racing. And this was a slider fest between these guys for a while. The person that should be the most pissed off is Brock Zierfoss. He was
Poor
past
guy.
him for 5th.
This poor
And if
guy.
I'm him, I'm going to clock both of them in the face in the pits, because it's like, come on, man, like hold your shit together, because he's running a smart race and having one of his best runs of the season and gets taken out. Just that, I was heartbroken for him. And I mean, granted, I'm a known Brock Zierfoss fan, but
I'm applauding.
That's just tough.
I'm gonna applaud Jimmy for getting Bloomsburg mentioned twice and Brock into this show. All good things. Good job, man. You're working hard.
All the things close to my heart.
A dead racetrack and Brock Zierfoss. What the hell?
I'm thinking long term in the points. Who knows how
this is going to be big,
or who knows how many points Gravel potentially lost that night in the grand scheme of things. And it's a night like that could, at the end of the year, how tight the points have been certain years going into Charlotte. Certainly wouldn't want an event like that to end up costing you a championship.
Go back to some there's some good comments in here. Ampe, he basically echoed what you said. Buddy's raced like that forever. That's the midget mentality. Slide or die, baby. Seth Dietrich, Gravel had plenty of time and experience to know that Baylog will turn down. If you don't put yourself in a victim spot, you aren't one. I get it. And this is where I think it comes down to where a lot of people are saying 100% hard racing. It's hard to make that decision real quick. Even though we're watching it over and over on a loop right here, it was. I think maybe that's why Gravel was so taken back from him, because he probably doesn't even know Buddy's there, because he's battling with Macedo and Baylog, and then here comes Buddy out of nowhere. So
perfect, great track for it. I love it.
Yeah, right. It's awesome. Great.
And honestly, Gravel's pissed. And again, he's pissed, and that's fine. It's okay to be mad.
Yeah,
but there really isn't a wrong here. And look at the run Gravel had on Baylog. Gravel in his mind is going, hey, I got to run on Baylog. I got something for him here down in the next corner, and then it's all gone. I get that, but that's part of this. It's part of the deal. So
Gravel crashes behind Buddy, just racing. Gravel throttled up and tried to get Baylog halfway through 4. Seth says David should get off his high horse. Sweet left. That's why you're leading points. I mean, hey, Luker says it's Gio's fault.
I mean, he was busting through here a million miles an hour, but
poor guy,
because he couldn't get going slowed down.
But yeah, I mean, just hey, it gives us something to talk about. It was fun to watch. This whole race was fun to watch.
Paducah's a badass place.
Yeah, Paducah was the track. Baylog did lead a lap. Sheldon led the rest. He was gone. Buddy finished 3rd, and Cole Macedo finishing 4th. How about that one?
He was pretty sporty there. He went out and passed.
He was better than his brother.
He had Carson pass at one point, or no, he did pass him. He
did. He passed him.
He did pass him. That's right.
Carson finished 5th.
How mad was Carson? You think at that point, like losing those points to his brother? Was he pissed? He had to be. Right?
He had to be for sure. You got Gio, Donnie, who's still running pretty well. Logan, Scotty Milan. Never even heard of this name really. I think I probably heard it in passing once or twice. It's P9. This guy came out of nowhere pretty much in my eyes. And you guys knew him before this?
Yeah,
I've heard the name, but not like a guy that he's going to run top 10 with the World of Outlaws.
Right.
I think he's an IRA guy.
What's that?
I think he's an IRA guy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, still, I mean, I don't expect many IRA guys. Nothing against IRA, but I don't expect most of them to run top 10 against the Outlaws.
Bill Baylog.
Just not that guy.
Yeah, but he's an outlaw now. He hasn't been really with IRA for a few years now. Brady Bacon with a P11. Ayrton Jen P10. Brock Zierfoss still gets back up to P16, I guess.
Did it
bummer.
Twice.
It was cool that they at least were able to get him out. He had enough time to get out there, but
they had a hell of a time with that front axle, man.
Yeah,
boy, them boys were struggling.
But yeah. So let's go to Saturday night. They were at Tri-State. Brady Bacon with the win. Another Outlaw win, 2nd now. David Gravel finished in 2nd, and Buddy Kofoid finished in 3rd. Carson Macedo 4th. Those are the 3 guys right now, pretty much, that they're going to be. I think those are going to be the 3 guys that are, you're going to have a Sheldon show here and there. You have a Donnie show here and there. Logan's been kind of there, but those seem to be the three guys that have really stuck their nose out as ahead of the rest of the field that are going to battle it out for this title. Thoughts from this race?
Brady Bacon is the king of Tri-State Speedway. They might as well just rename it Brady Bacon Speedway at this point. Just badass. How can you not root for that guy too? I mean, are there humans actually alive that don't like him?
I don't know how
Tyler, you might know that answer.
Yes, there are people that don't like him.
Okay, because I haven't found many.
For reasons why.
You don't want to know.
Just because he wins in USAC.
Just USAC stuff. Just because he wins, or
Well, I mean, when you drive the Hoffman 69 car, as good as that car's been for as long as it's been around, the driver of that car usually isn't very well liked because it wins a lot.
Okay, yeah, everybody hits a winner. Okay, so Gravel, Kofoid, Macedo, pretty cool little track for sure. I think it puts on a show every year, and usually it's Brady Bacon stealing it. So
I'm about Emerson Axum P10. Last car on the lead lap. There are only 10 cars on the lead lap. Donnie Schatz is even lapped here, and
he was picking them up and putting them down. He was getting after it. He was awesome.
That's the one in Indiana I want to get. That's like one of the places in Indiana that I want to go watch a race at, whether it be winged or non-winged. They definitely need more winged races there for sure.
Yeah. And the cool part about the end of that was I watched this was a Saturday night. So I watched this on the replay, maybe. I watched the quick replay. And Victory Lane interview, Brady, they said about him, racing more wing stuff. And he said, hey, we get the sponsorship. I'll run them all. He said, bring me the money. I'll run more. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, he likes it. He usually does pretty darn well. Like, he's very competitive. Obviously, you send him a tri-state, he just wins. But like, he's shown obviously the ability. He has all the ability in the world, one of the best in the country at what he does on dirt, winged or not. And get the funding for that guy. I would love to see him run more of it and see what he could do.
I agree.
Just wait till he's Eldora in 2 weeks.
I know.
Well, let's go to High Limit. Tuesday night, they run Red Dirt Raceway. Corey Day with another win. Tyler Koenig second. Brett Marks third. This place was pretty cool. This race was badass. Corey Day up on the top, ripping around up there. Corey Day, he went back to back because he also won last weekend. What a guy. What a talent.
I mean, what else can we say now, right? Like, what a talent. Yeah, you can't. The sky's the limit for this kid. Who knows? I don't even know where this takes him. Like, we're just all going to be witness to what he can do, I hope, and nothing derails his progress to the future. I'm a Corey Day fan. I'm excited to see where the future goes for him.
I just hope he stays in sprint car racing long enough for us to be able to enjoy it. Because I'm hearing rumors that there's some NASCAR money coming.
Well, why wouldn't there be offers, right? You can't. It's hard to deny that talent unless he just flat out turns it down and says, "I want to be a dirt guy forever." How can he not get those kind of those words thrown at him?
Gives you the endorsement, you've made it.
Yeah. Justin Peck plus 16 with a P5 finish on Tuesday night. Hard charger, good run for him. Something that I just noticed on Tuesday night too is just High Limit's just so much fun to watch every night. Just like, not saying that the Outlaws aren't fun to watch. I'm not trying to, but just trying to shine a little bit of a light here on High Limit, just because the roster that they have, and some of it might be even the track selection. It's just every night has been awesome. Like, maybe it's part of the format too. You got some really good cars in this format where you get inverted back and you have all this instead of just being straight up. I don't know what it is, but they have a really good product for this first full year that they're doing this, and it's just carrying on. So, and this was nothing less of that. Let's move to Friday at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Brad Sweet with the victory. Tyler Koenig in second. Spencer Baston in third. Brett Marks fourth. And Corey Day with the P5. Brad Sweet just basically dominated this one, if I remember correctly. Not too much to say from this, unless you guys have anything.
No, and I when you just said, hey, I don't know what it is, but these races have been, I think it's some of the short tracks and the track selection. The aero stuff isn't playing into it a ton right now. It's who can get the car turned and hooked up and make the moves and not hit the ruts at the right or wrong time. And they're competitive. They're willing to go after it. It's been pretty clean. It's just been entertaining. Very, very entertaining, no matter who's won it. And usually I would be like, no, bro, like I'm a Brent Marks fan, clearly. And when he's not winning, I'm like, F those guys that won. I've been entertained every night. Like I want Brent to win every race he ever enters, but when I'm watching Corey Day go past Sheldon or past Tyler Courtney and past Brad Sweet and past these guys, I'm like, God damn, this kid is like, wow, So, and I know Brent has actually talked about that. He's not short tracks are not his specialty, and they're working hard on that program. And I fully expect them to get it figured out, whether it's now or too late or whatever. They get to the bigger tracks later, but just like time trials, he used to not be able to time trial. He figured it out. He could always pass cars. He says, self-admittedly, he wants to work on a short track program because we don't have a lot of them around here. So at that level, he's not a California guy. He's not, based in a Corey Day and a Brad Sweet and Larson and Rico. It's not his specialty. So I think there's a lot of guys with that right now. And I think that's why you're seeing some of this mix and competitiveness that you're seeing, because it's not as all aero based. I think you're seeing some of this as actually some racing. And a lot of traffic matters, and not for an aero standpoint. Now, aero matters a little bit, right? Dirty air still matters, but you're just having to figure it out. And it's a chess game, and it's awesome. It's been fun.
Yeah. And then on Saturday night, another Brad Sweet weekend, man. Brad Sweet, Brent Marks in second, and Rico P3 was your top three. Jacob with a good run on Saturday after kind of a lackluster week. P4, Tyler Courtney, plus 15. He was also hard charger on Friday night, right? Yeah, plus 10. Just good weekend, obviously, for Brad, but big story from this one, and the big highlight from this was him yeeting James McFadden to the sun.
Chad is fired up about this one.
Yeah, so I don't have a clip ready for here.
What?
I was just trying this clip thing here, but
I like Aunt Bay's comment on it from one of the social media accounts. That's 2002 Ratbag, one of Outlaws game level stuff at Bloomington.
Yeah.
This is like hit a car and go flying off into the darkness.
It was the craziest shit I've seen in a long time. Like, the physics didn't make sense. My brain couldn't comprehend what I was watching that car just float through the air. Crazy, scary stuff, man. Glad he was okay.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely a scary crash when
it was
surface into oblivion.
Yeah, it looked like some iRacing physics that didn't make sense. Like, that shit's not supposed to happen. They don't fly like that, man. It just wild. But I didn't see any other lap of this race. That's the only thing I know about this race. I didn't watch the replay. I didn't watch anything. So, Tyler, did you watch a replay of this thing? Did you watch this race?
I did not. I just watched, basically the McFadden flip, because that was what everybody was talking about. That was what everybody was talking about on Saturday at Lincoln after it happened. So
yeah.
I actually crossed the track. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I crossed the track to get my jacket. It was in one of the trailers in Givler's trailer, because I didn't know if I needed a jacket Friday night or Saturday, because I started with in short sleeves and I ended in a freaking winter jacket. But I had enough signal in the pits to see that, got back across the track to show someone, and I had no signal. I was like, shit, it's gone. So that's the only thing. I saw it there, and I saw it when I got home, but I didn't even get to watch this thing. So, when Brad sweeps a weekend, it probably shitty up front, maybe not have been one of their best races, but maybe it was good. I don't know.
And if anybody knows McFadden's crew, they used to work for Casey Kane Racing, so they're all good buddies. So I'm sure that was eaten at the 49 crew, knowing that happened. But hey, you know what? We're all racing. We're going to make contact. Eventually it's going to happen.
It didn't look like anything.
It wasn't
malicious or that out of bounds to me. Like, he got in there, but it didn't look like he got in there that deep. It just kind of.
Well, the car got tight. He either hit a bump, it got tight, pushed up the nose just a little bit. It just
didn't even look like he hit him that hard, though, for McFadden to have the reaction that he ended up having. Like you're saying, like, the physics didn't make sense. It almost it didn't look like he hit him that hard, but maybe it was just an angle of the replay,
Yeah.
Sweet did apologize about it. Good question from Steph here. Why do some tracks not have walls and fences around the whole way around? Blows my mind. Honestly,
gives you a little runoff area.
It gives you some runoff area, gives you some energy
Yeah,
dissipation.
that worked, didn't it?
Yeah, extreme.
And honestly, I mean, it's probably in most cases softer than a wall. Maybe not in this case necessarily, but if you have enough runoff to do it, I think most teams would rather that because you're not destroying stuff off a wall. It just depends on the track.
I was just say, ask Fred Raymer what it feels like to go over turn 2 at Lernerville.
Yeah, some tracks have catch fences, some don't.
That's what I was gonna. I knew someone was gonna say it.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, costs too. I'm sure Craig Dunn is right.
Yeah.
Just that's part of it. So
Craig Dunn is never right.
And out of all this over the weekend, Knoxville was canceled, and of course Williams Grove was canceled. Bummer for the Hintershits. I don't know if they're even rescheduling that. I think that's just flat canceled. So bummer.
Oh, shout out over the weekend. Cale Thomas gets a win at Fremont.
Hell yeah, Cale Thomas.
T2T guest. Cale Thomas got his first win of the year at Fremont. That was pretty cool. Saw a lot of little TikToks and videos coming out of that. So shout out Cale. Good for him.
Fremont.
And who won at Lernerville? Was it Duncan?
Spithaler, I think, wasn't it?
Spithaler.
Oh, Spithaler. That's right.
Yeah, sounded like he dominated that race. From what I gathered, it sounded like he was pretty much on it from the word go.
Yeah, it sounded like AJ Flick.
Hey, took home that $2,000 prize share, buddy. $2,000 at Lernerville. So good for them.
It's AJ Flick, also former T2T guest, was coming. He finished second. He had to charge through the field, but kind of tough weekend for him because coming one short to win at Lernerville, and then obviously leading at Port Royal and running into a lap car, getting that win kind of taken away. So
yeah.
But showing some speed there, AJ Flick is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's mixed bag to start the season. I think he posted about spending $3,000 in tires in the first 3 weeks, and then he has a couple. He's leading at Port and gets a good run there at Lernerville. So up and down season to start for AJ. I think overall though, better start to this year than last year. So hopefully he has a good 2024.
Dalshot said, "I won the biggest race of my career Friday night."
Congrats on getting married.
Yeah, it's the race.
Oh, congratulations! There you go.
There you go.
Congratulations, Dallas.
It was better than the weekend before that, so for sure. Nothing like stepping on it when you're starting to pull an A-man at Lincoln, but here we are.
I have a question. When's he going to put his wife back? When is he going to put his wife in a car?
Ooh, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a few years.
Maybe that's who's driving the 10.
Maybe.
Look at it, Chris. Look at you from left field, buddy. Look at you. Solid chime in there, bud.
Let's move on to previewing this upcoming weekend. Thanks. Shout out to Tony and Dirt Track and Creative for this graphic here to help make this easy. A Yellow Breeches 500 race on Friday at Williams Grove with a topless 25 limited late model race. Is there anybody else racing that? Just them two, right?
That's it.
So that should be fun to watch.
Topless they're doing topless Friday night at Williams Grove and Saturday night at Selinsgrove.
At Selinsgrove.
Yeah.
Saturday, Port Royal, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit here. Keith Kaufmann Classic, baby. Saturday's looking great. Lincoln, 410, 358 program on Saturday, and then BAPS 410 show with modifieds on Sunday. So good, another 3-day weekend. Big show though, and also on Sunday, in which we're going to talk about with Tyler here, is Lucas Oil lane models coming to Port Royal. So big weekend at Port Royal. Let's talk before we get into Lucas Oil on Sunday. Let's talk Saturday. 410s. This, you had Sterner, 20 grand to win at Lincoln. Now you got 15 to win at Port Royal. Both of these unsanctioned. And then also you got USAC East Coast and Wingless Sportsman have out on good authority from a Perigo that you will see a Perigo up on the fence running the top at some point. And I would not doubt there's a pretty good chance that you could see a Perigo in victory lane because there's like There's 4 of them.
You got good odds. I'll take a Perigo versus the field. It's about the equal odds there. 20 Perigos, 20 the field.
Well, would it be Perigo swept the wingless? Both the wingless classes have a Perigo suite.
Burn the damn place down is what's going to happen.
It'll be a crime scene.
None of us will make it home. None of us are going home that night. We're going to pass out in the infield.
Listen, if Brett Perigo wins the wingless sportsman, you can thank me because I will be helping this weekend. You could thank me. It's totally going to get him in victory lane. I totally know what I'm doing.
I'm going to bet on Carmen now because he's a smart one. Real quick, also Saturday, speaking of sportsmen, it's Larry Jackson Nationals for everyone else at BAPS. Just want to throw that in. That's a big deal for Tony Jackson and those guys, and obviously for Larry Jackson Nationals are important. So,
and 2 late model features at BAPS because they're making up the one from the 410 show,
and 2 at Selinsgrove.
Yep.
What a mess.
So, so check that out. But definitely Saturday. Big race for Port. 410s. Who we thinking early predictions here?
Danny Dietrich.
Yeah? You think he's going to come back with a vengeance here?
Oh, absolutely.
Too fast to bet against right now.
Again, 3-win weekend. I'm calling it.
That's bold.
That is bold. But he's been fast, man. I mean, I don't know.
Definitely a 3 podium weekend at worst, I would say, unless something goes wrong.
2 out of 3.
I mean,
that ain't bad. V-Lift told me it's not bad.
Devin Borden.
Yeah, I was going to say Devin Borden. Lance is definitely going to be somebody to watch as well, of course. Dave Scott Smeltzer, of course, with Chase Dietz. And he's definitely going to be somebody to watch. He's getting better and better every week in that one. Same thing with him and Logan. They're both kind of getting going here with their new teams and getting better and better each week.
You think the car count will be?
I think 30? They get 30 at least.
Do you think 35?
I was going to say 35.
I could see 35. I think it's about flip from what Lincoln and Port was this week. It was 32 and 27.
Yeah,
I think it flips.
I'll split the over under. It'll be 32 and a half. Tyler, over under 32 and a half.
I'd take the over.
Jimmy, are you the over under? Over,
I'll go
Chris?
I think
over.
Port and the
What's that?
I would take the over at Port and the under at Lincoln for car counts.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're going to lose, actually, let me ask you this. Does TJ Stutz run Lincoln or Port this weekend?
Port.
I don't know. You're going to lose. I was thinking about this today. From the field on Saturday at Lincoln, you're going to lose Dietrich. You're going to lose Borden. You're going to lose Danny. You're going to lose Borden. You're going to lose Lucas.
Probably TJ. Probably Reinhardt.
Reinhardt, yeah. So that's 5 cars right there. So now Lincoln's down to 27. Oh, hang on.
Macri. At 6.
But you might pick up some.
You know what? Macri's probably might pick the win, to be honest. Just how much he's rolling.
Yeah, Macri's 6.
They're on their way to Arkansas for the Riverside race. I don't know.
I thought I saw Port on their schedule, though.
I thought they were going to run Riverside and then go to Knoxville for the Outlaw weekend.
Yeah, Jimmy, pick Macri. He won't be there. Good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not trying to get off topic, but I hear a rumor that Knoxville could have 60 cars for the Outlaw show because there's no high limit races this weekend. A lot of high limit guys are going to go run Knoxville to get ready for the Nationals.
Yeah, they're in the area.
Well,
so.
I mean, on his schedule, he has Williamsgrove, Port, and BAPS this weekend. But he also had Selinsgrove on his schedule this past weekend, and he didn't show up. But honestly, because he won $20,000 the night before.
Yeah. So is Macri committed to the weekday high limit points or no?
No.
I thought he was committed to the weekday series.
Yeah. Not according to the schedule that they put out.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with Danny.
Call Mooney up. He'll let you know.
I don't, Tyler, listen, we're just fans. We don't have that kind of power or pull. Okay. We don't know anybody. We know Billy Dietrich. Ask Billy. Billy, is Macri going to be in Central PA this weekend? We only know Billy. That's all we know.
And racing is all he knows.
Yeah. That's all I know. I love that intro. I love his intro to his show. That's pretty cool.
But anyway. I'm super stoked for Saturday. It's going to be a great 3-division show. I would say definitely full fields for, I would imagine, full fields for both the sportsman and the wingless sprint car. So it's going to be a great jam-packed field, great night of racing.
And wingless has a
50% chance of rain Saturday. Yeah, it looks early if it is going to hit. It looks pretty nice at night. So I'm not too, knock on wood, overly concerned about, but obviously something to keep an eye on.
Well, pack it in. We're screwed, boys. Jimmy ruins everything when he says that line right there.
jeez.
It's already changed twice since I looked at it the last 2 days, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But Port deserves some type of good juju here with the weather, because even the races that they did have, one they had to go with against Lincoln this past week, and the other couple races the weather wasn't great.
Yeah.
Not as great as some of the other tracks have gotten, but it is what it is. I mean, it's early. It's freaking April in Pennsylvania. What do you expect?
Weather.
Yeah, but Sunday. Have you seen the forecast for Sunday for Central Pennsylvania? Sunny and 77 degrees, boys.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
How do you think that's gonna? So let's preview it.
Let's do it.
So late models. I'm hearing. I heard somebody say something at Selinsgrove about 65 late models at Port. Does that sound like a realistic number?
I think total
between both.
Between the supers and the limiteds, I think that's justifiable. I would certainly think that if you listen, I got the top 20 in Lucas Oil points printed off. Right now, there's 18 guys. 18 of the top 20 have committed to run the full year.
Okay.
So if you have 38 that were there on Saturday, and you add the 18 guys that are coming in, that's right there. That's 56 cars.
Wait, let me check that. Hold on. Yep, 56.
So, I mean, I certainly think your super late model car count is probably going to be high 40s, range. Low 50s. And I'm also hearing a rumbling that certain 6 car, if there's weather down at Dover, may be there. Because you got to remember, NASCAR's in Dover, and they run Georgetown on Friday and Hagerstown on Saturday. Cup cars qualify in the morning at Dover on Saturday. So I would bet that Mr. Larson's running the Rumley 6 at Georgetown and Hagerstown. And should there be weather in the area at Dover, there's a good possibility he could also end up at Port Royal.
Interesting.
Like he did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When we ran in God knows about 30-degree weather, and the only reason they didn't cancel was because he was going to be there. 2 years ago,
he'll be a draw, that's for sure.
2 years ago,
look at weather right now for Dover.
Degrees, and it was the coldest I've ever been at a racetrack. But they did not cancel because Kyle Larson was going to be there.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the guys that are chasing Lucas Oil points right now. RTJ's leading the points, Davenport second, Moran third, Hudson O'Neill fourth, and I saw Hudson O'Neill put a spoiler out there. There was a Longhorn, looked like a black and white Longhorn, so I'm thinking maybe a Rumley car. Marler, Brandon Shepard, Jimmy Owens has it on his schedule. T-Mac's going to be there in the Rocket car. Garrett Albertson, Tyler Erb, Clay Harris, Max Blair, Drake Troutman, Ross Robinson, Boone Briggs, Tony Jackson Jr. There's a Tony Jackson Jr. that runs late models too. Yeah, I mean, right now Lucas Oil's got it really going on. They've got about 18 guys contracted to run with them right now, and that's a pretty healthy car count to bring into an area that's already got a lot of late models to begin with. Yeah. Although they're not known for it, there's still a lot of late models in this area.
Well, and this is where Port kind of has an advantage here, is because they have been the super late model track basically.
Yeah.
The past couple of years here in the area, and they get great car counts every week. They get about 30 every week, and we saw 38 this past weekend, like you said.
And so, I talked to Ross Robinson. I talked to Ross Robinson at Georgetown earlier this year, and they had planned to, anytime that Lucas Oil is not running on a Saturday and they're close enough, they will be at Port Royal. So if Lucas Oil's not running on a weekend, you can expect Ross Robinson to be at Port Royal, because there's nowhere else in there's nowhere else in this area that's paying $3,000 to win for a super weekly. Like, you go to Hagerstown, you're paying, like when Hagerstown used to run supers weekly, they were paying $2,000 to win. You know, I don't know if a lot of people really knew that or not. The headlining class for Hagerstown was only paying $2,000 to win. And, you know, just what Port's done with the facility, what they've done with the racing, and what they've done to help the racers out. Of course, you're going to get the car count to support it. When you got guys on national tours saying that they rate Port Royal, and these guys go all over the place, all over the country. You know, when they rate Port Royal in their top 3 favorite tracks that they go to all year, you know, that says something too.
Okay,
Right.
so I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I watched the Supers were a support series the other night for the Outlaws. Where was that?
That was at Paducah. That was an
Okay.
unsanctioned. That was an unsanctioned show.
Okay, it was $5,000 to win, and there was like 8 cars. You're talking about cars coming from all over, coming home from weekends, traveling to come home and run Port Royal for 3. I raised this question in the chat that I'm in, and people were like, well, $5,000, that's peanuts in the late model world. They got 8 cars to show up, and you're telling me we're getting full fields in local Port Royal action for $3,000 or $4,000 to win.
$4,000.
Why wouldn't Ross Robinson around the country, if it's an 8-car show, and I understand he's loyal to Port Royal. I love that. Listen, I'm not arguing why, but I'm just saying, like, it sounds like if you're in the middle of the country and you're not in Pennsylvania, you're anywhere south or west of here, you can find a late model show for more money than Port Royal. Why wouldn't he just run around and do that?
Because of the quality you're going to race against at Port Royal. I mean, you just look at the field.
For less money?
Well, I mean,
what was that? What do you want?
I mean, I do get what you're saying there. Like, if you go west to Lernerville's paying, supers are paying $2,000 to win on a Friday night. You know, and you look at, you know, basically Hagerstown, Winchester, that weekly deal is kind of dried up. I mean, Hagerstown, honestly,
I'm further south. If he's at Lucas Oil, if he's in Tennessee, let's say Tennessee or South, to come home to run $3,000 at Port Royal when you can go anywhere in the Southeast and probably run for $5, $6, $8, $10,000.
The problem in the South is there's not too many places anymore that still run supers weekly. A lot of the places in the South have gone crate late model as the headlining class.
The 9 different crate late model classes.
Wild to me.
So, like, in the Carolinas, there's some tracks that run, but they also run base. They don't run weekly. Maybe they run every other week. And most of the time down there, the pay is based on car count. So if you don't get a car count, they cut the purse. Like, if you read, I don't like bashing tracks, but if you read most of the time, like if you look at Winchester Speedway in Virginia, if you look at their press releases, they'll advertise 1,100 to win. But in parentheses, it says based on an 18-car minimum. So when they don't get 18 cars, they cut the purse.
Got it. Okay. So that answers that question.
So,
the other question I have.
Well, they won't cut the purse at all. They're committed to what they're paying, which is, I mean, I talked to Gary Stuhler, Rick Eckert, Jeff Ryan, all the big dogs that run around here. They're like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you go run Port for what you're making?
Yeah. Yeah, and all those guys are guys who can win, right? So it checks out. Here's the other question. Talking about all these cars coming in here for Lucas Oil, and if we consider, you know, Lucas Oil and or Travelers, and you take the guys who do run Port when the supers are there every time.
Right.
Is the late model world, when we talk about locals versus Travelers, is it as competitive, our local guys against those guys, like it is in sprint car world, or is there a little bit of a gap?
I mean, around here, there's not as much of a gap as there might be in other parts of the country. It's got some comparisons to the sprint car world for sure. But at the same time, there's a reason that these guys are out on the tour, because they're out there racing. You know, those guys are out there up and down the road racing a lot. They're the best of the best. You know, I mean, if you go to Port on Sunday and you watch hot laps, a majority of the guys that run on the tour are going to be up on the wall, even in warm-ups. Whereas most of the local guys will be running the middle, maybe 3/4 of the way up. You get guys like Davenport and Thornton, McCready, O'Neill. They're just banging the boards right from the get-go. Those guys also got the, there's also, you got big time money sponsors behind some of them guys that run on the tour.
Well, and that's similar to us, right? I mean, you got Napa sponsor cars running around, and you got NOS sponsor cars running around, and I got, no offense, Ron, Mama's Pizza of Wellsville in our cars, right? Like, there's not much of a difference there. That's what I'm kind of getting at. Like,
it is very similar.
Give me 3 guys locally have a legitimate chance to go win this race Sunday.
Jeff Ryan. I'm kidding.
Greg Satterley, Rick Eckert. Third guy.
Jeff Ryan.
Is Troutman considered local, or is he a traveler?
I would love to see Gary Stuhler win. I would love to see Gary Stuhler at 67 win a Lucas Oil race again. But honestly, I would probably say Eckert and Satterley are probably going to be the top 2 on everybody's list. That third one, it could be a variety. The thing with Lucas Oil and the way their format is, you have to time trial well, because everything with Lucas Oil is heads up. The only thing that I criticized about Lucas Oil's program is I went to the Lucas Oil, this show in 2021. Jonathan Davenport was on the tour full time that year. He set quick timing time trials. He started on the pole the first heat, which he won, which got him the pole for the feature. And he won the feature without passing a single car all night. So for a local guy to win, you have to get off the gate with a good time trial lap. Satterley could certainly.
I'm sorry.
He won that race 2 years. He won that race 2 years ago. So he's certainly probably the top guy that would probably be at the top of everybody's list. I think Eckert's right there because, Scrub was staying sharp down in Florida and Georgia, helping Ross Robinson out as a crew guy, keeping his car up here and keeping it fresh for the local scene. I think a third car, you look at Colton Flinner, you look at maybe Jeff Ryan, you maybe look at Mike Luther. There's so many guys that you could throw in that third ranking as long as they time well. That's the big. You got to make it through time trials with Lucas Oil. You got to time in the top 5 or 6 in your group to have a decent shot. Because let's face it, you're not going to be a local guy driving from 12th to 14th to beat a field like that.
Is Drake Troutman considered local?
He's a Lucas Oil. He's signed on to run Lucas Oil full time, as is Corey Lawler. Corey Lawler's signed on full time with Lucas Oil.
So the couple that come to mind for me, and I don't know if Austin's program is at the level, but Austin Berry, friend of the show, seen him do well, and Trevor Feathers. Those are guys I know can do.
Throw Trevor Feathers in there. That'd be my third guy. I completely forgot about him. My 3 guys would be Satterley, Eckert, and Feathers.
Look at me, late model guy. Look at us. Look at me giving him ideas. Look at us.
Honorable mention would be Gary Stuhler. If Gary Stuhler could win either Hagerstown or Port Royal, that would be freaking awesome.
Cool. We got a couple of people in here. Brandon Zirk asked a Yoder. I don't know which Yoder.
Well, certainly, if Dylan can time well, if Dylan can time in the top 6 to 8, he's certainly got a shot. Bernheisel. There's the local field here is so talented. Most of the Lucas Oil guys will tell you that the most talented field they face all year is not in the Midwest. It's not in the Carolinas. It's not in Tennessee. It's in freaking Maryland and Pennsylvania, where they're not. Where they're really not known for late model stuff here. Up here, it's more sprint car country. But we've also got some of the toughest local contingent that these guys are going to face.
Randy Kopp says Max Blair, but isn't he running
Max
Outlaw?
Blair, Lucas Oil driver? Yes.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has it. I looked on his website. He has the 3-race weekend on his schedule for this weekend.
Okay. Max Blairsburg.
So we know where you're going to be on Sunday. Where are you going to be on Saturday?
Lincoln.
Okay.
Ashley's running Lincoln.
Ashley's running Lincoln, so that checks out.
There's one race for her that I will miss all year, and that's the 50,000 to win show in August when Lucas Oil comes back. There's a 358 race at Lincoln that Saturday, but she already knows that I won't be at Lincoln that week because we already cleared that up.
And the BAPS on Sunday, the support modified division, which version of the modifieds are going to be there?
Small block modifieds, the guys that run Big Diamond and Grandview weekly.
All
We're
right.
going to have them guys coming. From what I heard, Craig Von Doren, Jeff Strunk, Dwayne Howard, Doug Miller, Mike Gooler, Loudon Reimer, Brett Cressley's got it on his schedule. You're going to get, I would probably say, being that it's a Sunday, you right around a full field, but as long as you get the quality, there's going to be quality cars there. Let's just say that. You're not going to get all the Grandview and Big Diamond guys to go out there, but there's going to be enough. Rick Laubach will probably be there. Billy Jr. will probably be there. You might get Ryan go down. He does have a spec small block as well. So, I mean, there's going to be a quality field there. It might not be the 35, 40 cars that you see at Grandview, but there's going to be a quality field there.
Well, I don't think that's really needed when you're going to have, because I bet you they get 30 to 35 410s.
I would say 30 to 35 410s, and I'm going to go 25 small blocks.
Good. Start them all. No B main.
Answer this question, I saw it pop up there. Jeff Strunk is driving Norm Hansel's 357, and he's actually leading the points at Grandview after 3 shows. 10-time track.
Rick Laubach won that race in the fall, right? It was Rick Laubach.
Rick Laubach won in the summer. He won the August race.
That's right. Okay. I thought I remember that. I get confused on these cars and who's and what motor and what division.
He's the only guy. Most of those guys run a panhard bar on the rear. He's still the only one of the few dirt modified guys that run torsion bar on the rear. Most of them guys have all switched over to a left side panhard bar, but he's still running torsion bars on the rear, and that's what he won at BAPS last year, was a torsion bar.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Thanks, Tyler.
I
believe you.
racing, honestly, when I talk, people think that because he works on a sprint car and lives in sprint car country, big block and small block modifieds are my favorite division in racing. I cannot get enough of the modified stuff, and it just sucks that they have to be at BAPS on the same day as a Lucas Oil race.
Yeah, it's okay, Tyler. Nobody's perfect. All right, so all right, what else we got here? Are we wrapped? Does that everything?
Yeah, I think we're
just the shadow for Thursday.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Calm down.
Yeah, okay,
Calm
Chris.
down.
We know
Calm
we're waiting.
Calm down, Chris.
We know you're waiting. Okay,
we're getting there. Relax. Damn,
Jesus.
But yeah, so again, just to recap real quick: Williamsgrove Friday, we Yellow Breeches 500 show. Should get a good car count there with the topless 25. You got Port Royal, Lincoln, BAPS all running Saturday. And then you got BAPS 410s and modifieds on Sunday, plus Port Royal, Lucas Oil late models on Sunday. It's a great jam-packed weekend of racing here in the area, and it looks like pretty good weather. Saturday kind of looks like the iffiest day, and it looks fine. So get out, get to the track. Next week, we're gonna bring Wyatt Hinkle back. Excited to bring this guy back. Beautiful looking race car. He's the other guy, one of the other guys in the intro here for the show. So we'll catch up with him and see how he's doing and what's going on there. And then here you go, Chris. Thursday, here's your shot.
Hey, Rolling Podcast Thursday with this past weekend's winner, Trent Yoder, who's probably maybe a threat to break up the sweep of the Paragos this weekend because he won the Labor Day Classic last year with the New England Sportsman over there. But Trent Yoder, young kid, excited for that with Tony Sharp. 7:00 Thursday. Be a good time.
Definitely check it out. You can check it out on Turn 2 Terribles Facebook, and you can check it on Sportsman pages and on, of course, the Rolling Podcast page. And before we go,
wait,
real quick,
we're gonna do 2 things today because we have a guest. We're gonna do two quick things. We're gonna talk about what you're about to get into.
Okay.
And we're gonna do Drink It or Dump It from the weekend. We haven't done
okay.
that in a
I
while.
like that.
We're going to do that
Well,
at the very end.
These might
okay?
tie into each other.
Tyler, we do drink it or dump it. If you haven't seen this with some guests, we're gonna we've done it with ourselves, but we'll do this with you. You're gonna pick out somebody you're gonna salute and drink it to from the weekend, and somebody you're gonna pour one out for. We're gonna do that after. We're gonna have this quick conversation. Jimmy, go ahead.
We're getting a lot of people in the comments asking about the Tyler Walker video. If you haven't seen it yesterday, it was a rough watch. He's, not in a good way. Looks like he's, some of the posts on social media looks like he's trying to get some help. I don't want to comment more on that. I don't know if you guys have anything. It's just a tough watch. You don't want to see a guy like that. I guess he was so talented around here and, fell on hard times with addiction and everything. I mean, just tough to watch. You hope the best for the guy, but he's got to also want to, hopefully, when he says he wants to get better, that he
Actually
needs
wanna
it,
get
because that's the only way it's going to happen.
Right.
So
Actually want to get better. And I mean, it was just one of those things we hit the heavy stuff here before. Check with your friends and make sure they're doing all right.
absolutely.
Addiction and depression are no joke.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, anybody who's been around a while and knows that name knows that it's been a struggle for a long time. I think with whether it was before this hard stuff that he's addicted to now, I think that those signs were there for a long time. With a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I even think I saw that his mom was posted on that live stream like, take this down.
Yeah.
Obviously, he is very public now. And sounds like based on that video, he's been living on the streets for a year and a half, and he's been very under the radar, quiet. Not many people have heard, and he kind of comes out of nowhere here, and it hits a lot of people at home because there's a lot of fans there. And but listen, he's got to want to do it for himself. We all may want it, but he has to get to the point where he's like, I give up, right? I give up and want to get better. Other than that, listen, we all hope for the best, but there's not a lot we can do. And we obviously are just going to hope for the best for him. So, I don't even know if I want to see more of it, to be honest. Like, I don't, what do? You feel conflicted because you want to know what's going on with the guy, but you don't want to see it in that way. And you don't want to see the struggles he's still living. I wouldn't, if it was a review and I'm better and I moved on with my life and I review what I used to do, I think everyone loves a success story, but who wants to witness while they're in it? I don't think it's helpful for any of us, and we can't do much for him, as much as we want to. He's got to want to do it for himself, and let's just hope he gets there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. It is hard to not watch because it's almost like a car crash, but you want to see the guy pull through for sure.
Yeah.
Still one of the best things ever is that the video from Williamsgrove when he was trying to fight the officials and everything. And that's still one of the most memorable things for me. We talk about it all the time. It's kind of like a meme, but obviously this isn't funny. So,
right.
3 weeks and 3 weeks after that video's taken, he's winning the King's Royal at Eldora.
Right. So it's wild. Yeah. Larry, drink it and dump it. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I remember Tyler coming in here for the first time. He had Ricky Warner and Barry Jackson on his crew for the first time when he come through here, and he was buying from my dad's business. And they were buying from my dad's business, and we got to go meet him. And he was just this young, super full of energy. I think he might have only been like 17 or 18 years old at that point. And he went toe-to-toe at Lincoln the first night I ever saw him race with Billy Pouch and Lance DeWeese in an all-star show. And he got the most ultimate compliment from Walt Dyer when Walt Dyer walked down to him and said, "Kid, you're going to be a hell of a race car driver. I'm sorry I don't know your name, but there's going to be a lot of people around the country that know your name by the time you're done racing." And I think that was the ultimate compliment he could have gotten at 16 from one of the best car owners around here.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt.
That's that. It's just rough because you see that guy and you see.
And now you see where it is now.
Yeah.
Yep. Chris, you're going to be the first for drinking or dump it, buddy. What do you got?
I'm drinking up for Ashley Capetta and Tyler and that whole team for the promotional event with Lincoln and obviously Parrish and all them. That year's worth of work comes down to work out. Awesome. I think we touched on it earlier. Drink it up. Awesome job. I look forward to following along to see what you're doing for the one in September. I saw that news today too, so looking forward to that event. Dump it. I guess Danny Dietrich breaking everything all weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are two good ones. I'll go next. I agree with both the Chris's. Great job, Tyler and Ashley. But I'm going to give it to I'll go with Billy Dietrich. Shout out Billy. Just great night all around at Lincoln on Saturday night. And I'll do a dump it for. I have a cut. Now I'm thinking of a couple good ones. I will also want to give a drink it to Austin Bishop. Shout out to him. So no,
This is why we cut the line, Jeremy. So
I know.
Usually you do this to us.
Yeah,
I know, that's true. Fair enough.
I'm gonna do a dump it to Kyle Spence. Man, he looked so good on Saturday. Just and Aunt Bay, of course, just looked good on Saturday night. Just tough night.
And I'll let Tyler go last. So mine would be Austin Bishop. Drink it up. Drink it to Austin Bishop. Proud of you, buddy. My dump it is Jaden Wolf. Tough deal for him. I would drink it to Kyle and Ant, but listen, that little bit of self-induced, you stepped on your own PP there. That's more of a what an idiot move than dump it. No, I'm just fucking with it, but shit happens. Jaden Wolf would be my dump it for sure. And Danny would have been right there. Dump it A, dump it 1, dump it 2, dump it A, 1A. But Tyler, go ahead, buddy.
So I got 2 drink it's. First drink it's obviously to Ashley, Pat Sterner, Chuck Reiner, Jerry, everybody at Lincoln for the tremendous job. Long day. Ashley got to the track at 11:30. I don't think we left till about 11:30 in the morning Saturday. I don't think we left till about 1 o'clock Sunday morning. We were there all day. Just seeing the countless work that she was able to do, and just have a perfect weather day. That was my biggest fear, was the weather, and just have a perfect weather day. See FanFest go well. That's a good drink it. My second drink it, not sprint car related, but I want to give a shout out to one of my modified buddies from Grandview. Her name's Adriana Delapani. She runs a 602 Crate Sportsman, and after 3 races, she's leading the points at Grandview in the 602 Crate class. She's had some great runs this year. She ran 5th on opening night, 3rd last week, and then unfortunately got caught up in a wreck. But because some other guys ahead of her in points didn't qualify, she's now the point leader at Grandview in the crate class, which is awesome. So they used that as some big publicity this week. So shout out to her and that team. They're doing a great job. Hopefully she can park it in victory lane here soon.
Wait, and what's her name? Hold on. What's her name?
Adriana Delapani. She runs a 602 Crate Sportsman for Norm Saxton, who owns Tim Buckwalter's car at Grandview. So they have a 2-car team. One's a 358 and one's a crate car. But she also runs a wingless 600 at Action Track on Wednesdays.
Oh, shit.
She was the one that ran second to Timmy at the dirt race at Trenton last year. She came out of the B main, started 24th, and finished 2nd.
Wow.
And my dump it, it's hard not to say Danny because, obviously with the weekend that he had, but my big dump it would be Jaden Wolf as well. Man, I was so heartbroken when I seen him bouncing off the wall in 3 and 4. I was just so heartbroken. I know that the money he got for winning the heat, the money that he got for hard luck award doesn't do justice to fix a race car, but I just felt so bad for him. So he was my dump it.
Yep, same. Okay, so Tony, are we allowed to announce what we talked about before the show, or are we allowed to say it out loud yet? Or are you saving it for Thursday?
He's talking about something else with the Fan Fest. So the Fan Fest, I don't know the other thing. I don't think he announced it yet.
Okay, all right.
I think he wanted us to push it out there.
Which
so
part?
Might as well. So Sports 100 50th annual, August 31st. Just announced. Going to be have a big fan fest before. Stay tuned for details. Also, they're selling laps for the 100. $10 or more if you want to give it to sponsor a lap. We will be sponsoring some laps. Tyler is going to be sponsoring lap 99.
Yep.
So get in contact with Tony Sharp, or you could even shoot over here to Chris. because he's also involved with helping promote all this. So,
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor a lap in the Sportsman 100, that money goes to the leader of that lap. It helps them out immensely. Go ahead, Chris.
And
yeah, a lot of money is all for the teams. Even the Fan Fest, there's a lot of things we're planning. Still early stages on, but a lot of that's gonna be fundraisers for different purses and awards for the teams. Everything's gonna try to go back to the teams to make that event bigger. Obviously, the 50th running of it. It's gonna be exciting. We're trying anything from cornhole, I think, is out there. Live music, maybe a little. Basically, a parking lot party is kind of the idea.
Sportsman hundreds at BAPS. Sorry,
I got a little trivia for you for considering 100 lapper. Remember we were talking about this before the show. I know for a fact the single lap that paid the most to lead in the Sportsman 100. 2004. Now get this: 2004 at Silver Spring. The 82nd lap that year paid $1,082 to lead, because that was the year we unfortunately lost Bill Heckard. And the Heckard family and the fans kept donating money to whoever was leading the 82nd lap, because that was Wild Bill's number. And they got the total up to $1,082 to lead that lap.
That's wild.
And Frankie, all 100 laps that year, he made a third of his lap money just by leading lap 82.
Badass. Yeah, very cool. And by the way, T2T bought 4 laps: the 2, the 12, the 22, and the 32. Those are taken. You can't have them.
And we're also going to be rolling live there. I forgot about that part. That's the best part. I got to use guys' experience on how to do this live at track roundtable stuff with potentially some old winners and something like that. It's going to be a big, awesome day.
Who's hosting that? Are you on that?
I am on that. I am going to be there all day having a great time.
Oh, where's the talent? Who's going to bring the talent then?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
We need to get many former Sportsman 100 winners to that event and maybe do a autograph session.
That's the hope. Absolutely the hope. I know Tony's already reached out to a bunch of the former winners and stuff.
I'll talk to one guy who's not going to be running a 358 that Saturday, who's pretty successful in a 100 lapper, and see if maybe we can get him to come sign a few autographs.
Oh,
let us know.
Cool.
Our phones are open.
9-time Sportsman 100.
Very good.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do for that. I would love to see all the living Sportsman 100 winners to get them guys together, because that's a pretty exclusive group right there.
I want to see Eichelberger run the race again.
I keep telling Rich he needs to come back and run one more time, because he never really got a proper farewell in the Sportsman division.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Tony, that's who I'm referring to.
I do know one former winner is going to be in a different state, so that's unfortunate.
Well, that's not helpful to this conversation. Well,
yeah, spring, because of the mile.
Right.
Yeah.
Ruined them pierogies.
All right, is that it?
Down here?
That's it. Hey, I want to give. Sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
What's that?
Aunt Bay just said, "Get Freddie to run the 100 lapper." I'd love to see Freddie in a Sportsman.
That would be.
He'd
cool.
probably say hell no, but I'd love to see him.
We're gonna get out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. You're always in the chat, giving us
nuggets.
Like I said, correcting us when we're wrong, which is often. So it was great to have you be able to
Absolutely.
just be right from the beginning. I also want to give a shout out to Gutshaw's Automotive again for helping, with the podcast here, and definitely go to them for any of your automotive needs. And we will be back next week. Keep an eye out for, hopefully see you guys at the track this week. So